Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku became assassin alchemist? Movie. This story is Izuku el alquimista de fuego by Dewmonnuevoassassin. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button, as your one like motivates me to bring more stories, and subscribe the channel if you are new so you won't miss our latest videos. In a world where only women have quirks and men are treated as inferior. Okay, now we focus on a rainy day at an orphanage near a forest. A baby's cry is heard, and a woman with golden hair opens the door and sees no one, but she looks down and sees a black-haired baby with a note. Take care of Izuku, so your name is Izuku, huh? Sees him crying. Okay, this will be your new home. 5 years pass and we see Izuku hiding in the orphanage library. Izuku. Damn it, why? Hits the ground. Why? Hit him, make it so a book falls on his head. Izuku. But what? Looks at the book, alchemy. Then he hears the voice of someone familiar. Izuku. Izuku finds him. Izuku, why do you always disappear? Izuku. Head down, it's just that the girls at the orphanage bother me. Calm down, crouches down, I'll always be there for you, smiles at him. Izuku. Thank you, Riza-san. Riza. You're welcome, looks at the book, would you like to take it with you? Izuku. Yes, Prav Izuku. For as long as I can remember, Riza-san has taken care of me. She is a 35-year-old lady with golden hair and dull dark golden eyes. And her name is Riza Mustang Hawkeye. She knows me very well and knows I don't lie. And as far as I know, no one from the orphanage likes me besides Riza-san, not even the caretakers. I don't like heroines like the others because I see them only doing it for fame. 4 years later, we see Izuku at 9 years old, reading the alchemy book he found. He deciphered the alchemical vocabulary, which made his grades perfect, though only Riza seemed happy about it. But for Izuku, it was pure bliss. Now we see Izuku reading a page of the book that has captured his interest. Izuku. Fire alchemy is a method of composition and execution, since it is known that by using alchemy to modify the density of the air and a spark you can make a big explosion. Wow, that's new. Then she hears a funny argument in the director of the orphanage. Izuku. What will happen? Izuku went to see and was surprised to hear. Director. I'm fed up with taking care of that brat. I told you when he arrived, this place is only for orphaned girls. Riza. But, director. No buts, we'll leave him on the street tomorrow. Riza. Then I will adopt him, determined. Director. I see you've grown fond of him, good, but he's never to come back. Riza. Hi. After that, Riza signed Izuku's adoption papers, and when Izuku saw that it was finished, he went to his room, and when Riza arrived. Riza. Izuku, today you will be my son. Izuku. And Serio, happy. Senseful curl. Izuku. Cheers. So he tidied up his things and hid the alchemy books he found. To be honest, nobody would care if they got lost since everyone had forgotten about alchemy. After a while, Izuku arrived at Riza's house. It was a cozy apartment, close to his school and with a rooftop terrace. Once his room was tidy, he went to the couch where his new mom was. Riza. Izuku, today you will have half of my last name. Izuku. What, Riza? Isn't it true that I have two, one is Hawkeye and the other is Mustang? Izuku. Yes, Riza. Okay, you'll have the last name Mustang. Izuku. Cheers. He lived like this for a year, until Riza disappeared and was presumed dead. Izuku was left alone again without anyone to support him or give him affection, until he remembered the alchemy books, read them, and found something. Izuku. Human transmutation, a way to create or bring humans back to life. It might work, see below, it can't be done, so to feel mom again I need to do. To make it, you need the following ingredients. 35 liters of water, 20 kilograms of charcoal, 4 liters of ammonia, 1.5 kilograms of lime, 800 grams of phosphorus, 250 grams of salt, 100 grams of pepper, 80 grams of sulfate, 7.5 grams of fluorine, 5 grams of iron, and 3 grams of silicon. Izuku. Well, all that's missing is the genetic information. In one Frank he had curly hair and cut his finger, then he drew a circle with an engraving. She placed her hands on the circle and it began to glow. An eye in the middle, and suddenly Izuku saw everything white with a door and a being all white. Izuku. Who are you? I am those described as God, or perhaps the universe, or truth, or the world, and also you. Izuku. Puro. Then the door opens and out come some black men with the same eye. Truth. Now I will show you what you were looking for. At 2:15 until he leaves the door and it ends. Izuku. My theory was wrong, but I was very close. I need to go back in. Knocking on the door. Truth. I can't. Izuku. Why? Truth. You need something to give, that's equivalent exchange. Suddenly, Izuku screamed in pain, and when he saw his left arm was gone and bleeding, he screamed and screamed. Izuku 0. Mom, sniff mom, goes to the circle. Go to the circle, and see what he did, he wasn't human, and neither was his mother. Then the door burst open with the police inside, and he saw a boy lying unconscious, missing his left arm, with a dead object inside a circle. Once they realized he was alive, they rushed him to the nearest hospital because he was bleeding profusely. From then on, Izuku Mustang lost two things but learned two things. He lost his mother and his left arm, but he learned that life is not something to be trifled with, nor is it something to be played with as a god. And two things he didn't know. He would no longer need a transmission circle to perform alchemy, and thus he would become the most dangerous vigilante, or the first man to become a hero. He would be the one. Assassin Alchemist. Next chapter, A New Life. Prov Normal. After undergoing human transmutation and losing his left arm, he was taken to the nearest hospital to stop the bleeding. A day passed, and Izuku awoke. Izuku. Opening his eyes, where am I? Nurse. I'm going to tell the doctor you're awake. She leaves. Izuku. What the? He remembered the truth, the door, the transmutation. Izuku. That's what happened, looks to his left, so that's the price for seeing through the door, what a joke. After a while, I was lost in thought, and then the doctor arrived. Doctor. I see you're better. Izuku. What do you mean? Doctor. Normally everyone loses their composure when they're missing a limb. Oh yes, you have visitors. Then the inspector and the heroine's eyes are heard an all-girl. Inspector. Good morning, young man. Today we've come to ask you some questions. May we do so? Izuku feeling. Eyes are heard. Well, where is your family? Izuku. Downcast, my mom disappeared and I don't have a father. All girl. What was that thing in your house? Izuku. It was my mother. Inspector. What do you mean, your mother? Izuku. I tried to bring my mother back to life, but it cost me my left arm. Eyes are heard. But what happened for that? Izuku. I'm not going to say anything else. Lifeless eyes, go away. But one thing, could you bring me my books that are in my room? Inspector. Of course, I'll bring them to you myself. Looks at them, let's go. Heroines. Hi, already outside the hospital. Eyes are heard. Why would he look for manga for a child? Inspector. I don't think they're manga, seriously, maybe the answer is in those books. All girl. But they were robbed. Inspector. I doubt it, let's go to the department. All girl. But what was the boy's name? Inspector. Izuku Mustang, son of Riza Hawkeye. Eyeball head. Poor. When they arrive at the Hawkeye apartment, they see the circle and a huge bloodstain. Inspector. No matter how many times I see him, he always gives me a bad feeling. All. What did this child do? Izer. We'd better look for the books as soon as possible. They searched for quite a while until they found the room, but realized it contained more than 5 very thick books. Inspector. But what was he reading? Izer. I will open a book. Izer. Alchemy. Flips a few pages, human transmutation. All. What did you say? Izer. What you heard, it seems the child wanted to create or revive his mother. Inspector. I see, let's take him to the hospital. After that they took the books to Izuku's room. Needless to say, the books were thick and there were 10 in total, and when they arrived. Inspector. Okay, but why are they so thick? Hitting his back. Izuku. The book is in code, and half of it has been deciphered. Izer. What is human transmutation? Is it what you did when you lost your arm, or that thing? Izuku. Downcast both. I'll just say one thing, equivalent exchange is giving and receiving equally. After that they left while in the UA in a dark room. Tell me what the boy is like. Iser. He has a rare power, and I don't think it would be considered a quirk. All. I agree, plus he had a lot of books on the periodic table and magic. Wow, in 6 years we'll register him with the exam. Much more complicated for him. While in Izuku's room, he was looking at a page. Izuku. Automail, metal prostheses that connect to the body's nerves that will work. I'll ask them tomorrow if they can do this for me. I need to write down the instructions. That's how it happened. I asked them and seeing my determination they did it. A year passed where they put the prosthesis on him. In the end he escaped from the hospital and in an alley during the rain the moon came down. Izuku. Okay, that's all that's left. He clasps his hands together and with a sack of meat creates a meat mannequin near a corpse. Izuku. And now the final touch. He said, putting on a white glove with a strange red symbol. Then he slapped his fingers together and created an explosion that caught everyone's attention, and they saw a charred corpse with the identification Izuku Mustang. Nobody knows what happened, but after that, a new vigilante was sighted wearing a blue suit with gray stripes, white gloves, and a hood covering his face. It basically looks like Izuku with his outfit, but it includes the Assassin's Creed Syndicate hood, plus Connor's hidden blade, though it's not noticeable because of the suit's sleeves. And some say he kills them with leaves that come out of his wrists. Others say that if he corners them he snaps his fingers to create a blaze that includes an explosion, and those who were rescued say that he creates domes of earth and a pattern can be seen in them, and Izuku, so that he can just draw on that power, transmutes the books into knowledge in exchange for the books and a portion of his emotions, and that's how he got the nickname of Assassin Alchemist, where he only kills those who deserve it and creates houses out of thin air for the homeless. 2 years have passed since the vigilante's appearance, while in someone's house. A vigilante who creates things out of nothing. This is interesting, but judging by the stories you say he's a man of no more than 12 years old, you know, serious and with a gaze that burns his victims from the inside. I wonder if you're someone to be trusted. On the other hand, Riza-san's son died, poor thing, when he left 3 years ago. Maybe she hasn't told her anything until now. I hear someone a little older than the person I'm talking to. I'm coming. That's where this mysterious person left from, while on the rooftops. What do you think, Ira? Ira. I think it will be interesting, don't you think? Lust. Lust. Yes, but if we mess with him it will be a challenge, even for pride. Ira. Don't worry, if we don't get in his way, he won't either. After that, the two people leave. Prov normal. In an alley in the middle of the night, we see a frightened thief with a little girl with light blue hair, wearing rags and staring into space like a ghost. Suddenly, a hooded figure in an Uzel suit and white gloves with a red symbol appears, slowly approaching. Thief. Stop or I'll kill her, with a knife to the girl's throat. The hooded figure simply snapped his fingers, causing a beam of light to appear and melt the knife. The scene was being recorded live nearby. Thief. Damn it. He said nothing, he just snapped his fingers again to burn the thief's shoulders. Who said she was a woman? A deep voice pulled them out of the trance as they saw the person remove their hood, revealing a person with black hair and eyes who had a cold gaze. Ignore the black vest. That confused everyone, including the live viewers and the person recording. Thief. Because a man, one of many who treat us as merely a means of perpetuating the species, who treat us as nothing more than slaves. Why? Don't you know me? Thief. Calm, you're the assassin. Assassin. Now you know who I am, this will be your end. As he said that, he snapped his fingers, setting the thief ablaze and leaving him on the brink of death. Assassin. My job is done. Looks at the girl. You'd better not tell anyone, not even your parents or friends. Girl. I have no parents or family. Downcast. Upon hearing that, she steps in front of her and is at the girl's eye level. Assassin. What's your name? Yoshino. Why Yoshino and you? Assassin. We'd better find a place to leave you. Come on. Puts on his hood. From there he went to drop Yoshino off at a police station, but Police Officer 1 looks up. A girl. Then she got up and went to see the girl. Police Officer 1. What's wrong, little one? Are you lost? Yoshino. Assassin. You'll tell them what happened but not about my face, okay? Yoshino tells him what happened, but obeying what his savior told him. Police Officer 1. I see, tell me your name and your family's name. Yoshino. I don't have a family. Policeman 1. I see, I'll have to leave you in an orphanage. Yoshino. She didn't say anything, she just started crying and went back to the same alley where they saved her, seeing a burn mark but no sign of life. Yoshino. Is not here of course, nobody could stay in the same place, Dawn. Where? He couldn't finish because a familiar voice was heard. Assassin. Don't let me leave you at the central station. Yoshino. Apathy was wondering if I could live with you. Assassin. Explicate. Yoshino. It's just that everyone takes me to an orphanage and nobody helps me, but you're different. Remember what she experienced in the orphanage where she lived. Assassin. Okay, but are you sure? Yoshino. See. Assassin. I see, but how old are you? Yoshino. 5 years. Assassin. Okay, we'd better go before they find you, right? Yoshino just smiled and nodded and continued on his way home, while the person who recorded. Mine. Come down for dinner. Mine. I'm going. The aforementioned Mine Kazuki, who uploads videos of the vigilante assassin Alchemist, and they were very popular. Already with Yoshino, Izuku revealed his identity and lived with her for 4 years, and obviously Izuku sent her to school saying that his parents were traveling and that he was taking care of her, but in reality Yoshino sees Izuku more as a father than an older brother. With 2 days left before the so-called entrance exam, we see Izuku helping Yoshino with her homework, and then there is a knock at the door. Izuku. I'm coming. He opens the door and sees the same inspector and heroines who visited him 6 years ago. Izuku. Yes, they need. Inspector. We need to speak with you. May we come in? They pass by and glance sideways at Yoshino. Izuku. What do you want to talk about? Izer. The UA entrance exam is in 2 days, we want you to participate. Izuku. And what do I gain from that? Inspector. Don't let him be arrested, I know you're the watchman. 3 years earlier, the inspector is seen looking at a monitor that includes a mini model that Izer is carrying. Inspector. As I said, there's a very dangerous fugitive. Izer. Yes, wait. Inspector. I saw a shadow going to a place. Then she chased the shadow and saw that the fugitive was very scared. Izer. I found the fugitive. Inspector. But why is she scared? Fugitive. Don't come near me, have mercy, crying. I have no mercy anymore. You killed 666 people, you robbed 666 houses, you know that the number 666 is the number of the devil, isn't it? So I've come to collect. A person wearing a hood and a blue suit and white gloves with a red symbol came in. Fugitive. I will kill you. He throws a thorn from the man and it hits him in the arm. Fugitive. Ha, you can't do anything without your left arm. That's when the thorns break. Fugitive. How is that possible, if it breaks the same steel? Terrified. Back with Izer. Inspector. Izer, what's going on? After. If I lost my arm doing something I shouldn't have done, and you replace it with a chrome-plated one, this will be your end. He snapped his fingers to kill her with fire and she left, present day. Izuku. I see, but what will happen to her? Looks at Yoshino. AG. I'll take charge during the exam. Izuku. Okay, I'll do it, but I'll go in disguise so I don't get into trouble. Izer. There's no problem with that. Izuku. Okay, if there are more, you can leave. Inspector. Because you faked your death. Izuku. I don't want to have a past, but I still have and will continue to have my mom's last name. After that they left, Yoshino went to see Izuku. Yoshino. Izuku-san, que paso? Izuku. I'm only taking an exam the day after tomorrow, you'll come with me that day. Yoshino just hugged Izuku with great enthusiasm. Yoshino. Thank you, father, for everything. Ito, the. Izuku. Calm down, you can call me that if you prefer. Yoshino just hugged him tighter and started to cry. Yoshino. Thank you, for everything. After that touching scene, Yoshino fell asleep and he carried her to bed, then he sat down. Izuku. Daddy The next day, I bathed Yoshino and then, using green, white, and gold fabrics and some vows, I used alchemy to create an outfit that she had drawn and said she wanted. I put it on her and she looked like this. Yoshino. Father, look at how I look. So adorable it gives you diabetes. Izuku. Kawaii, my little Usagi. It was the day of the exam. Izuku used a disguise so he wouldn't be noticed as a man, and Yoshino was wearing the same outfit as yesterday. Some people fainted from excessive cuteness. Izuku then took Yoshino with Ag so they could take the exam in peace. Mike. Okay, the written exam will begin, but first, Hawkeye. They all stared, then the one being Menson raised his head. Mike. Instead of 20, you have 100 questions. You'd better hurry up and begin. After 2 minutes Hawkeye gets up and hands in the exam with a perfect score. Needless to say everyone was speechless. After a while the report of the practical exam arrived. It happened the same as in canon but. Iida. You pointing at Izuku, I don't know why he insists, but you're a nobody. After that they were in the stadium when they saw the door open and saw someone running away. We passed over the entrance and saw Izuku snapping his fingers to generate very powerful flames that destroy all the robots, and in the observation room. Wow, we have some very talented girls this year. I'm interested in the explosive Muslim woman, she seems arrogant but she can be improved. Aizawa, who catches your eye? Aizawa. Nobody in particular, and you, Director Neza. Neza. I like the girl with the fiery fingers. Father is not a woman. They all turned around when they saw a girl with light blue hair wearing a green outfit that resembled a rabbit's. Neza. What a man. Yoshino. Hi, Cementos. Tell me its name. Yoshino. Izuku Mustang Hawkeye. They were impressed when the surname was mentioned, and upon reviewing the surname. Neza. Only her last name is there and her quirk isn't showing up. What could it be? Whatever presses a button. Then the ground trembled and Yoshino got scared. Yoshino. What is that? Neza. Let's see, can your father handle the one with 0 points? Meanwhile, in the mini-city, Izuku was repairing his car since using fire alchemy too much was damaging its joints and hinges. Suddenly, he felt a tremor and saw a robot larger than the buildings. He was about to leave when he saw a girl with dark blue hair trapped in some rubble. He ran towards her, taking off his disguise since it was difficult to move. Everyone was surprised except for Yoshino. A few meters away from the girl, Izuku clasped his palms together to create a dome out of thin air and stakes to stop the robot. Izuku. Goodbye. I snap my fingers to explode and melt the robot in a huge blue blaze. Mike. Time's up. A while later, Yoshino went to Izuku, and then they went to her house. Prov normal. After the small demonstration of destroying and melting the 0 points, Izuku left with Yoshino, while the teachers were in a closed room. Neza. Okay, let's begin. Everyone gave their opinions and decided on the rooms until. Neza. Okay, only one more is needed. Izer. The boy who destroyed the 0 points. How did he destroy that robot with a snap of his fingers, when all girl did it in 10 hits? AG. Calm down, cement companies, but remember the case from years ago. Neza. Yes, the one with the one-armed boy. Izer. Yes, and when he died in an explosion, I investigated further and discovered something with the inspector, or rather, he discovered it. Cementos. And where is it? The inspector arrives at that moment. Neza. Okay, tell us what happened after the accident. Inspector. Well, 1 year before his death, investigate what he was reading. Neza. To magic. Inspector. No, alchemy is something like primordial science. Mig. But does he have that power? Inspector. I don't think so. Cementos. Estances como usoesa alquimia. Inspector. I don't know. Well, let's continue talking. When he was in the hospital, he asked for a prosthesis for his left arm and. AG. So what? Inspector. I don't know how to say it, they had the plans, or however he gave them to them, and it's. Neza. But it's rare for a prosthesis to move so fluidly. Inspector. That's what I was getting at. He requested that the prosthesis be connected to the nerves in his arm so he could move it. It took him about a year to connect it. Neza. That explains things. Anyway, to learn more about that power, we'll include it in Class 1A. All. Okay, while Izuku was helping Yoshino with the homework her school gave her. Izuku. What's this? Sees a piece of paper. Izuku. Reads it. Parents are informed that there will be a class meeting at 6 p.m. Well, there are 2 hours left, let's go. Yoshino. Hi. When Ivan went to the meeting, he spent some time in his classroom praising Yoshino for his high grades and behavior. While the parents were alone, the children were playing in the field, but Yoshino, waiting by his classroom door, was bothered by a group of children who approached him. Nonyo. Hey weirdo. Boy. Girl. Yoshino. Yes, Nonyo. And that weird suit. What? Did your nanny make it? Yoshino. I don't have a nanny, my dad made it. Boy. How strange that he's doing it as a rabbit, you're silly. Izuku. Then you'll be worse than that. Izuku surprised the children, he was with their mother. Why do they say that? She beats her in grades and behavior, they have to learn from her. He scolds them for a while and then goes to Izuku. I'm sorry for the problems. Izuku. Don't worry, but you'll have to educate your children, won't you? Yes, well, see you later. Everyone left, Izuku arrived home. Izuku. Okay, let's eat. Yoshino. Soy rara. Izuku. Those who don't accept others are the ones who won't be extended, meaning you're my little Usagi, you're smart and respectful. Yoshino. Then I shouldn't change. Izuku. Never change, hugs him. The days pass like this until a letter arrives from the UA. When she opens it, a hologram lights up and a girl with a cap and white hair appears. 2 things. 1. Ignore the ears and put on cat ears. 2. I'm going to die of diabetes. Neza. Good morning, Mr. Hawkeye. This is Neza, director of the U.S. Academy. You scored 100% on the written exam, something no one expected, and 780 on the practical exam, plus 60 rescue points. In total, you scored 840 points, breaking the AG record. You've been admitted to Class 1A. See you. Izuku didn't care, since he didn't want to be a hero, but he had to be one to avoid prison and leaving Yoshino. Days passed, during which Izuku received his uniform and started making lunch for Yoshino. Yoshino. Father, who is? Izuku. Rice, with meat and salad for your lunch, so you don't spend money at school. Yoshino. Thank you. Now it was Izuku's first day of school. They woke up early to get ready. Izuku had dropped Yoshino off at her school first and then went straight to Ua. Everyone stared at him, but he remained serious. When he arrived at his classroom, he heard shouts. When he entered, he saw a Mulsamana with her feet on the table and a defective Sonic giving him. Take your feet off the table, it's an offense to the Ua. Muslim. And who are you? Iida. I am Tenya Iida, who has risen through merit. Muslim. Merits, Zero Diberto crush. It didn't end because he saw Izuku with the UA's uniform. Mulsamana. What is a man doing here? Izuku. That's none of your business, you detestable girl. Mulsamana. What did you say? Izuku. Shut up, otherwise no one will love you. She goes to her seat and everyone stares at her, until Mama Caterpillar appears, and I mean that literally. Mama goes to see her offspring. Izer. If you're going to argue, come with me. They stare at him. Put this on and go to the patio. He leaves. They went to the dressing rooms but saw Izuku going to the one next to them. Some tried to open the door but couldn't. Izuku used alchemy inside the dressing rooms. Momo. Why is that boy here? Juro. I don't know. Uraraka. I saw him, but he took off a girl's disguise. What do you think? Mine. Perhaps it's a hero. Muslim woman. Ha, a man, don't make me laugh. Mine. But he has a quirk, I saw it when he saved me. The Mulsamana remained silent. Minera Monita Fem, look, pointing at an eye. Do you know what this is? Kiria. If an eye, Auv. Minor. We can see her toned body. Some blushed, pressed themselves against the hole, and when they finally saw that there was no one there, well, when they arrived they saw Izuku with a small book in his hands next to Aizawa. Aizawa. Why did it take so long? They didn't respond. Aizawa. Well, today I'm going to test your quirks, and I don't want anyone complaining. They nod. Well, whoever comes in last is expelled. With a malicious laugh, Everyone felt afraid except Izuku. So before you ask, if Izuku has automail, he covered it with skin-colored plastic and used alchemy to make it look like human skin. Aizawa. First, use your quirk to throw the ball into this circle. Mustang, you go first. Izuku. Hi, Muslim woman. How is this man in first place? Aizawa. He passed 100% of both exams. They were all speechless. Aizawa. Okay, Mustang, throw with all your might and then throw it back with your quirk. Izuku. Okay. He positions himself to launch with his left arm, launching with superhuman strength but not to the degree of a quirk. Izuku. How much was it? Aizawa. 999 meters, not bad. They were all pressured by the force he possessed. Aizawa. Now, you will perform different tests with your quirks. And so Izuku passed the tests where he placed between first and second place until the last test, where they had to throw the ball with their quirk for the second time. Aizawa. Next, Mine Kazuki. Meaning. Hi. Prepares to launch. Aizawa. Whenever you want. Mine launches it further with a pillar of ice to propel the ball. Mine. Sensei, how much did I do? Aizawa. 2,500 meters, not bad. Next, Mustang. Izuku. Hi. Is being prepared. Aizawa. Whenever you want. Izuku threw the ball into the air, then clasped his palms together and pulled out the plastic from his car with the mark of his gloves, and snapped his fingers to make a spark, and when it reached the ball it generated a flame that propelled the ball even further. Izuku. Sensei, how much did I do? Aizawa. Not bad, 4,500 kilometers. All that. Muslim woman. How is that possible? She said excitedly, while Izuku was making him return to normality, and he returned to the dressing rooms. Then the others followed. Then it was like a normal high school, and at dismissal he left before everyone else to look for Yoshino. After a while he arrived just in time. When they were going to his house, they stopped for some sweets and talked about the day they had spent. Prov normal. Back at home, they got ready to change. Izuku went to the kitchen to make dinner, while Yoshino went to take a shower. After a while, she came out of the bathroom to go to her room to change. Yoshino. Could I ask Odo-san if he could make me some pajamas? She wondered that as she put on her pajamas, and when she finished she went straight to the living room where she saw Izuku starting to sit down. She went to sit down and eat. Izuku. How did it go? Yoshino. Great, I have a new friend. Happy. Izuku. Really? Surprised, I'm happy. Yoshino. And you, father? Izuku. Normal except for using alchemy. Yoshino. But why did you come in if you're not interested in being a hero? Izuku. I do it for a reason, serious. Yoshino. Which one is it? Approaches Izuku. Izuku. That's a secret. He taps him on the nose with a finger. Yoshino. Ouch, rubs her nose, that hurt, Odo-san. Izuku. Sorry, eat it before it gets cold. Yoshino. Hi. After dinner they went to sleep. After spending the night, it was 11 p.m. and Izuku was seen sleeping, and he woke up upon seeing Yoshino at the door with a white bunny plushie in her arms. Izuku. Yoshino. What's wrong? Half asleep. Yoshino. I had a nightmare, can I sleep with you? UN. You're under arrest. Me. What's wrong? UN. This is illegal. Me. I respect that. UN. We see that no. Me. I didn't put lemon in the description. UN too. That's true, look. Him. Okay, Kuro. Me. It's because it's normal for a little one to have nightmares and be scared. ONU. Okay, ko vamos. We returned. Izuku. Okay, positions himself at the edge. Yoshino lies down next to her father, to sleep and immediately falls asleep peacefully. It's already midnight. Izuku gets up subtly so as not to wake Yoshino and changes into his vigilante outfit. Let's not forget its hood and hidden leaves. Then he climbed out the window and onto the rooftops, leaping from roof to roof, covering almost 3 kilometers in 10 minutes. While jumping, he heard a scream. When he realized what it was and went to investigate, he saw a hooded person with a camera in his hand, and 4 members of the Yakusha gang, but one of them was shorter. M1. Give us the camera. M2. And maybe you won't come out with one leg and arms. Never. M1. Give it to me. Irritated. No. What do we have here? Someone appears hooded, wearing an Uzel suit and white gloves. M1. Who are you? Realizes assassins. Help. M1. How did you assassinate? I didn't finish because the assassin's hand was on his neck, and when the thug fell, it was seen that below the assassin's wrist he had a blade that pierced the nerve. M2. What the hell? Assassins. Your turn, blade and fire. M2. Die. He lunges towards him. This was happening while the woman being threatened by the Yukasha was filming everything with her camera. Assassins. You asked for it. Die. Snaps fingers. Only the echo of the snap was heard, followed by the sight of the 4 thugs being burned alive until they were nothing but charred mummies. The entire scene was being recorded by the hooded figure. Seconds later, the assassin looked at the hooded person and then left the scene. Minutes later, the police arrived and began investigating. Others interrogated the person. The police told her to remove the hood. She complied, revealing herself to be a girl of about 16 years old with dark blue hair and yellow eyes. She looks the same at 16, so I'm not complaining. Police Officer 1. Okay, what's your name? Mai Kazuki. Police Officer 2. Okay, mine. What happened? Mine tells him that they wanted to rob her because she supposedly overheard a conversation and they surrounded her, and that suddenly the assassin's alchemist arrived and killed her with a hidden blade. He explains how he named it, and the other one lunged at him, and he snapped his fingers to burn the others and the one who lunged at him, leaving them charred. Mine. And that's what happened. Police Officer 1. I understand. Police Officer 2. So she's back at it again this time. Mine. Why does she say this? Police Officer 2. What, isn't she a woman? Police Officer 1. I forgot you're new. The security guard is a man. The officer was shocked to learn that the security guard was a man. After an hour, the bodies were removed, and mine went home. She had been given the house by her parents, and when she went to her room, she sat down at her computer and uploaded the video to her internet channel with the title, Assassin's Alchemist Close-Up in Action. So he began to climb, and at that moment he remembered something. Mine. Now that I think about it, Mustang-kun does the same thing as the murderous alchemist. Nah, my silly ideas. After uploading the video, she went to sleep, and while Izuku arrived home without waking Yoshino, who was still asleep, she lay down on the couch. When she woke up, she quietly went to get dressed and then prepare breakfast. Yoshino, smelling the aroma of breakfast, woke her up immediately. She got dressed and went to the kitchen to see her father setting the table. Izuku. Hi, how did you sleep? Yoshino. Calm and relaxing. What's he insisting on? Savoring the aroma. Izuku. I made pancakes. Yoshino. Ooh. Yoshino sat down across from Izuku and ate a piece of pancake. Yoshino. It's delicious. Eats wildly and chokes. Izuku. Here, gives him water. Yoshino. Drinks water, thank you. After that they left. Izuku dropped Yoshino off at her school, so their uniform looks like this. Then he went to UA. Everything went normally until the class where Aizawa was, and then AG came out and gave them the hero costumes they had requested. Everyone knows the costumes except for 2 that mine and Izuku gave us, which suggested the same model but with a different patterned hood, and mine's is without the hidden leaves. Mina. Why is that? Mine. I just like the vigilante's style, laughing a little. And why Mustang-san? Izuku. Just because, and besides, that way I could carry more accessories. AG. Okay, I'll explain how this works. He explains that they will have a battle of heroes versus villains, and the teams were Villanas. Bakugo and Iida, heroes. Kazuki e Mustang, heroes. Uraraka e Todoroki. The others are like in anime. It happens just like in the anime, but here Todoroki's team wins, Mina's team loses, Jiro's team wins, and so on until the Mustang battle. AG. Well, get ready over the megaphone. Mine. Mustang-kun, what will we do? Izuku. Simple, I'll create a platform that will take us to the 3rd floor like a siege, and I'll take care of the first one that comes, and you go for the bomb. Putting on his hood. Mine. It's a bit unorthodox, but he'll leave. A drop of sweat falls from his chin as he pulls up his hood. While with Bakugo and Iida. Iida. Kakugo-san, how will we face them? Bakugo. Shut up, it's just shine and we win. This character doesn't change at all. Iida. But, Bakugo. Shut up, I'm going first. Ag. Yes. Thus the battle begins. Izuku put his palms together and placed them on the floor to create a platform that launched them to the third floor. Iida. They're already here. Bakugo. Stay here, I'll go. After a few minutes, Bakugo arrived where they were and was about to throw a right punch, but Izuku dodged it with great ease. Izuku. Predictable, mine now. Mine. Yes goes to where Bakugo arrived. Bakugo. Where do you think you're going? Tries to catch up with her. Izuku. I should be telling you that blocks his path with alchemy. I am your opponent. Bakugo. How can a man say that to me? I'm stronger than you. He doesn't finish because I receive a blow. Part of Izuku falls. Izuku. Don't be arrogant or you'll lose your arms. Bakugo. Let's see if this helps. As you know, my quirk makes my sweat like nitroglycerin, and they really did make my suit the way I asked for it. Ag. Stop, you'll kill him. Bakugo. If you're agile, you'll survive. Pulls the trigger of his grenade gauntlet. When he pulled it, a huge burst of flame shot out in the direction of Izuku. When it exploded, a voice was heard, and it was Izuku with a wall in front of him. Izuku. Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, are the basis of nitroglycerin, but it has a powerful impact on your tendons downcast. Bakugo. How do you know that, and how did you survive? Izuku. A concrete wall becomes resistant if you add carbon, but an explosion has no power. He puts on a white glove. I'll show you. Then I snapped my fingers to create a normal flame, and when it reached Kazumi, it exploded. Then the alarm goes off. Ag. The heroes win. Prov normal. After all Grill said that, Kazumi came to her senses and saw Izuku walking away from her and heading towards the bomb. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room, everyone was shocked by the deduction and quick mind of our black-haired boy. Back with Izuku, he had reached the bomb room and saw a column of ice surrounding the bomb. He was very careful, and Iida had frozen feet, and mine was making a snowman. Well, when they returned to the surveillance room, Ag. Okay, tell me, what did Kazumi Shonen do wrong? Momo. Raises her hand. Ag. Yes, Momo Shonen. Momo. It was their preemptive attack without any plan. Ag. Okay, so how did the Mine Shonen team go wrong? Momo. I don't know how to start since I didn't see any mistakes. Ag. I'll rephrase my question, how did you coordinate to carry out the mission? Mina. Raises her hand. Yo. Ag. Yes, Mina Shonen points at her. Mina. Mustang-san used his quirk to reach the floor below the bomb and predicted what Kazumi was going to do. Ag. Exactly, but having the same quirk and knowing what the opponent's quirk is made of is very rare, and even for AFO I'll have to talk to the principal later. While Yoshino was having lunch with her friends on the rooftop, it's worth mentioning how shy she is. She only has one friend. Let's continue. While they were chatting calmly. Friend. Yoshino, one question. Who is the boy who brings you around and picks you up? Curious. Yoshino. It's a secret. Nervously. Friend. Come on, tell me. I won't tell anyone, insisting with a smile. Yoshino. Yes, he's my dad. Blushing. Her friend, who was stunned by the revelation, had a bunch of crazy theories running through her head. Well, we're back with Izuku since they were asked to return to class and they went to the locker rooms. Uraraka. Mine, that was amazing. Excited. It should be noted that they say this while changing their clothes. Mine. Thank you, but, Iida. Are you curious about that man's quirk? It would be, Momo. Who doesn't know him? He's the first man to have a quirk. In that, mine and minor, female Mineta, attract everyone's attention. Mina. Girls, we made a hole to see Mustang-san's dressing room, with a blush that would frighten even Escanor-sama. That surprised everyone, and then they heard the sound of a wrench turning. They all peered through the hole and saw something strange. He was tightening a nut on his arm. From their perspective, it looked like a normal arm, but he was adjusting something on his shoulder. Then Izuku spoke. Izuku. Wow, the shockwave from the explosion loosened some of my bonds. Well, I have to go find her later before I do the shopping. When he finishes. After that he got up, finished getting ready, and left, to the other side. Momo. Why was the shoulder being checked with a wrench? Uraraka. And who were you referring to looking for? Iida. Stop it already, class will start soon. Moving his arms robotically, they hurried to the classroom where things continued as normal. When they went home, Izuku realized he was late and ran off. A few minutes later, he arrived at Yoshino's academy and saw her with her friend. This made Izuku happy. When Yoshino saw Izuku, she said goodbye to her friend and went to him. Izuku. Hello Yoshino, pats Yoshino's head. Yoshino. Hello, Oni-san, she says it in a complicated way since she keeps it a secret that he is her father. Izuku. Well, before we go home, let's do some shopping. Yoshino. Yes, they went shopping, and while they were doing that, Mine was there strolling and saw Izuku and Yoshino walking. Mine. Is that Mustang-san? She also sees Yoshino and that girl. Meanwhile with Izuku. Izuku. What do you want, meat or fish? He doesn't hear an answer. Huh, Yoshino. He turns around. Upon turning around, he sees Yoshino distracted by some sweets on the other side. Izuku. Want. Looks at her. Yoshino just nodded. Izuku, no matter how serious he was, couldn't stand up to his daughter. Without further ado, he bought it and they went home. Mine, on the other hand, had doubts, but went home anyway. The next day, Izuku had to go with Yoshino since the academy was closed for a few days due to the uprising. Of course, he asked Neza, and upon learning of their circumstances, she agreed. When he arrived at their classroom, Aizawa. Okay, today we're going to USJ, but first we have a guest. Come in. Then Izuku walks by with a girl with blue hair, no more than 9 years old, wearing a blue dress that complemented her hair and light blue eyes. Without the doll, of course. Iida. Who is that girl? Moving his arms robotically. Yoshino. Soy y Yoshino Muse Mustang. It surprised everyone, but then Aizawa. Aizawa. She is Mustang's sister. They went to the USJ. Needless to say, they were all looking at Yoshino, and when they arrived they saw the 13th heroine. She began to explain to them the consequences of having a quirk. At that moment a purple portal opened where a woman with light blue hair came out with hands all over her body and even on her face. And a bunch of villains and a bird on steroids. And the portal began to take the form of a woman. Kurichi, female Kurichima. Wow, they even have real villains. Surprised. 13. They are real. In potion Aizer protects the students. 13 is going to face the villains, but the mist girl redirects 13's quirk towards her, damaging her suit and leaving her badly injured. Then she heads towards the students. Mist. Nice to meet you, future heroines. I'm Kurogiri, and we're the League of Villains, and we've come to kill all Grill. Everyone got scared, and Izuku worried about Yoshino's safety, who was terrified by the situation. After saying that, she was going to teleport away, but she failed to keep Hawkeye and Mine away, who hid. But then she saw that Chicken start fighting with Aizer. Kurogiri. Tamura, do you seriously think it's a good thing for the Nomu to fight? Tamura. Pero si el Nomu puede matar ag, ordena al Nomu mata a Aizer. After hearing that, the Nomu proceeded to massacre Aizer, while Izuku, watching someone being killed in front of a little girl, instinctively pulled out his vigilante gloves. Mine, seeing this, thought something that might be true. Izuku snapped his fingers, triggering a call that made a pact with the Nomu on his arm, causing it to explode with potential. Yoshino was shocked by the ferocity of the attack and didn't realize that Mine was with her. Yoshino. Oh Odo-san. Worried. Mine. Odo-san, isn't he her brother? Confused by what the girl said. At that moment, Izuku emerged from hiding, while the villains were shocked by the precise attack despite the explosion and seeing that someone was approaching. Tamura. You points, how can you insist on that at that distance? With doubt and anger as he attacks directly. Kurogiri. But he's a man. Impressed. Izuku. What? Serious, and snaps his fingers together to create an explosion of equal power. Tamura. Nomu. Kill that boy. Order. The Nomu, whose arm had regenerated after being blown up, went straight for Izuku. Izuku put his palms together on the ground to create a wall in front of him, but the Nomu broke through and struck his left arm, sending him flying into a wall and shattering it. When Izuku crashed into it, a piece of iron pierced his abdomen. Tamura. I see you're not normal. Nobody has an arm of steel, much less one that could survive that blow. Nomu, kill him. After saying that, the Nomu went straight towards him, but a column of ice that formed a dome in front of Izuku stopped it. Seeing this, Izuku looked around and saw Yoshino paralyzed and Mine, who had used her quirk to restrain the Nomu. Then Mine and Yoshino ran towards Izuku. Prov normal. Mine and Yoshino ran to protect Izuku, already with him. Yoshino. Father. Kneels down and sees the wound. Are you alright? Mine. Arrives and positions herself just like Yoshino. How can we help you? Izuku. I've never tried it, but now's not the time to hesitate. I need you to make a circle around where my arm would be. Mine. Okay. Does it? While they were doing that, the other students who had arrived saw the scene where Izuku was slammed against the wall and stared at him as he was impaled on a metal rod. Uraraka. What just happened? Terrified and confused. Zituyu. He had a metal arm. Kiro with his finger on his chin. Back with Izuku, Mine had already drawn the circle where the automail should be. Mine. Finishes the circle. Okay, now what? Izuku. Yoshino, there are 5 daggers in my pocket, take them out. He holds back the pain. Yoshino. Why yes. Drawing the daggers on now what? Izuku. Put them in a star position. Yoshino painstakingly buries them in 5 star-shaped spots, then Izuku places his palm there and begins to emanate energy. Only the circle of Alchemistria, nothing more. Then, with the pieces of his arm plus the daggers, a new one was formed, but it looked weaker. Izuku moves it as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Izuku. That'll hurt, this will hurt, joins his palms. When he puts them together, he places them on the piece of iron and tries to pull it out. When he does, he screams, and blood comes out, but he pulls it out. Izuku. Ready aha exhausted. Mine. What did you do? Impressed. Izuku. Use a healing technique to remove the iron. In pain now there's just one more thing, starts to open a wound on his right hand. Yoshino. Father, what are you doing? Scared. Izuku. A mark, since my gloves are torn, finishes making the mark and takes out a lighter. I'm going to do something, get out. Then they come out and attract the attention of the villains. Tamura. Now what? Confused. Suddenly, a burst of flame bursts through the dome, burning Nomu. Kurogiri. What was that? They all turned pale from the attack, and when Ag arrives, she sees that they are all attentive to what is happening and sees what she cannot believe. She sees Izuku with a burn on his abdomen and a metal arm. Tamura. What? Izuku. Believe me, I fainted more than once. They were all shocked by Izuku's condition. Yoshino was worried, and the villains were scared. Kurogiri. Impossible. Tamura. Nomu. Kill him. Desperate. After that, the Nomu got up again and regenerated to go straight to Izuku, but he used the lighter so that a burst of flame of the same power as before came out. The Nomu struggles to go against Izuku. He goes in a zigzag pattern and reaches him, but Izuku dodges. Imagine the little girl as Izuku and she's jealous of the Nomu. After dodging it, he uses the lighter again to create another explosion, but it barely dodges it. Izuku. A cellular division for accelerated regeneration, but it uses a lot of energy to do it, so I can use it. He clasps his palms together. In doing so, he creates a bunch of fist-shaped pillars with spikes that pierce the Nomu and throw it next to the villains. Fun fact. Imagine it's Izuku and his left arm is a car. The dots have spikes. Tamura was terrified, but she still trusted the Nomu. She just looked at Yoshino and smiled. Tamura. I think I won. Happy and sadistic tone, pointed at Yoshino. Kill her. After saying that, the Nomu emerges from the smoke and heads straight for Yoshino. She only manages to turn around to see how the Nomu is about to kill her, but then, a cloud of dust rises along with a loud crash. After a few seconds, the dust settles, revealing Izuku with his abdomen wound open and his left arm broken again, bleeding from the mouth. Yoshino, who was protected by the only person who cared about her, is on the verge of death. Prov Yoshino. I simply couldn't believe what I saw. Father on the verge of death, just to protect a nobody. I thought he was only protecting me out of pity, or to gain fame, but that didn't matter to him. In the end, he adopted me and gave me an education. Yoshino. Oto-san. Izuku simply snapped his fingers to create not just an explosion, but the same one he made in the entrance exam, but twice as powerful, yet he compressed it so that it would only kill the Nomu. I honestly couldn't find another way to demonstrate it, but just think of it as the power I'm applying, even though it's compressed. The blaze was so powerful that it reduced the Nomu to ashes, leaving no trace. Tamura. What the hell? Kurogiri. Let's go. Tamura. Yes. Izuku. Where do you think you're going? Serious. Izuku was still conscious, despite losing a lot of blood and an arm, but he looked angry. Izuku. To think that after killing my family, they're just going to get away with it like nothing happened. Tamura just ran away, but Izuku snapped his fingers to seriously injure them, but they escaped anyway, while with the students. AG. What just happened? Uraraka. Ito. Mine was shocked by the risk Izuku took for one person, but Izuku, who couldn't take it anymore, fainted. Prov normal. After the attack on the AUJ, we find ourselves in a place resembling a catacomb where we see silhouettes of an older man and a fat man in front of what appears to be a cell. At that moment, a woman with a tattoo on her chest approaches. Are you here? Who do we have here? Lust. The fat guy is happy. Lust. Calm gluttony. How is our guest? As always, but what about the sacrifices? The Lust. He was attacked by a group of villains. Crosses his arms. They left him in a deplorable state. Someone behind the door knocks on it. Could you calm down? He said calmly. Please continue. Lust. But I fought splendidly, excitedly, and only to protect a little girl, so she laughed. Gluttony. Does he have a daughter? With a finger in his mouth. Lust. Yes. Looks at the cell. You should be happy. He saved her. Your son is very pure, don't you think, Riza? Riza Hawkeye had been locked up there since she was presumed dead, and the people there kept giving her news about Izuku, as he was important to them. Meanwhile, Izuku was taken to a hospital, and the incident was reported in the news. A man with a quirk had appeared in all the media. Back at the hospital, Yoshino was by Izuku's bedside, where he was bandaged on his abdomen. Yoshino. Remember when he saved her from the Nomu? Oto-san, sadly. Then Mine enters and sees Yoshino. Mine. Hello. Yoshino-chan approaches her. Yoshino. Hello, nervously. Mine. It's time or never, Yoshino. Yoshino. See, Mine. I have a question, is Izuku really your brother? Yoshino. Ito, si. Mine. But in the accident you called him Oto-san. Then Izuku wakes up, they catch him and fall silent. Izuku. Looks at the ceiling, a new ceiling turns to the side, Yoshino. Yoshino. Oto-san. She lunges forward and hugs Izuku. Yoshino. I'm so glad you're okay, crying with joy. Izuku. Okay, calm down, I can't die yet. He returns the hug. When they break apart from the hug, the nurse enters the room and is surprised to see Izuku acting as if nothing had happened. She goes to find the doctor, and after a while he arrives and is impressed by the way Izuku is acting. Doctor. Calms down, I see you're better now. Izuku. Yes, but how did I get here? Doctor. Well, sits down, after you fainted, they called us. When we examined you, you practically had less than 35% of the blood in your body and your left arm was metal, but you were still alive and that was disconcerting, plus you have a quirk never seen before. Well, in 7 days you'll be out of here. On the neighboring continent near Germany, we see a house in the countryside and a girl listening to the radio. A man Back with Izuku, he was watching his automail bonding. Izuku. I need a replacement. Yoshino. Father, are you going to be alright? Izuku. Yes, I've been through this before, he strokes Yoshino's head. You can tell your friend what happened so she can walk you to class while I'm here. Yoshino. And can I have a sleepover at home? Excited. Izuku. If their mother agrees and takes care of them, I have no problem with that. Yoshino. Yay. Jumps excitedly. The day has passed. Yoshino called her friend at the hospital telling her what happened, and she and her mother went to pick her up, but not before going to Izuku's room and knocking on his door. Izuku. Go ahead. Then Yoshino and her friend, a girl the same age with green hair and eyes, entered. And his mother who had silver hair and blue eyes. Mother. It's a pleasure. I'm Rain Kuno, it's a pleasure. Daughter. I'm Natsumi Kuno, nice to meet you too. Izuku. Nice to meet you, I'm Izuku Mustang, thanks for helping to take care of her. Rain. My daughter already told me her secret, you don't have to worry indifferently, besides, your daughter is Natsumi's only friend. Izuku. I see, closes his eyes and turns his head, here, hands over some keys, they're for my house, so you can get in, hands them to Yoshino. Rain. I have a question, why do you trust us? Izuku. I only trust you guys, that's all. I say that if you give trust to someone, they have to give something in return, that's all. It's the same position, but with hospital patient clothes. Rain. I see. Natsumi. Izuku. Yes, looking at her. Natsumi. Who is Shino's mother? Izuku. Shino. Natsumi. Everything. Izuku. He doesn't have one, closes his eyes, I suggest you go before nightfall. Then the girls left, and later that night Izuku was awake because he was worried about whether Yoshino had arrived safely, but then he heard the door open. Izuku. What's wrong? It's already late. Looking at the ceiling. They don't respond and move to the front of their bed until someone speaks. So it's you, speaks elegantly. Izuku. Sits on the bed, who are you? I think I could. Since only 1% of people know, my name is Anger and I am a homunculus. Izuku. What? I am possible. Wrath. Look at me if you don't believe it. Then the moon appears, revealing the being called Wrath. Anger. But I'm a special guy because I'm about to turn 60. Izuku. Ira. I just came to see, and next time don't hurt yourself so much, we need you. Sacrifice, okay, see you later. Leaves through the window. There Izuku saw the being, the impossible one of creating a human being artificially. In that discussion, for Izuku, seconds passed, but in reality, almost an hour passed. Prov normal. After being visited by the homunculus named Ira, nurses arrived and reported that someone had massacred the guards with a very sharp-bladed weapon. Upon hearing this, Izuku remembered the sword that being possessed. The next day, in a rural area of Germany, a quiet house is seen, and a girl is listening to the news on the radio. Radio. It has just been reported that a villain attack took place at Ua in Japan, which was stopped by the first man with a quirk, who apparently had a metal arm. Made of metal. Radio. It is also reported that at the hospital where he is staying, there was a murder of 3 guards with a knife. Then the girl turns off the radio. Kid with a quirk, huh. Back in Japan, Mine went to visit Izuku but saw Rain, Natsumi and Yoshino at the door and Yoshino went towards her. Yoshino. Mine-san. Runs towards her. Mine. Yoshino-chan. Yoshino hugs her and Mine returns the hug. Mine. How are you? Yoshino. Good. Mine. Looks at Rain, who is she? Yoshino. She's Rain-san, my friend's mom. Just then, Rain and Natsumi approach. Rain. It's a pleasure, I'm Rain Kuno and this is my daughter Natsumi. Natsumi. I'm Natsumi Kuno, nice to meet you. With a smile. Mine. Mine Kazuki Ungusto. Natsumi. Mine. Yes, Natsumi. Are you Izuku Oni? Mine. Surprised, why do you say that? Smiles. Then Rain gives Natsumi a whack on the head. Natsumi. Mom. Why? She strokes her recently hit head. Rain. Excuse me, she's curious, but she's a good girl. Mine. Well, have you come to see Mustang-san? Rain. Yes, Yoshino wants to visit him. After that, they went to Izuku's room. At the front door, they knocked and received a, come in, and Yoshino ran in. Yoshino. Father. Runs to hug him. Izuku. Hello, greets Yoshino, how are you Usagi, looks at Rain, thank you. Rain. You said it yourself, you have to give the same as you receive. Izuku. Nice try imitating me, looks at Mine, why did you come? Mine. Looks around, damn it. Why did I come in the first place? I have to come up with something. Looks at some books she's carrying, here are some so you don't get bored, blushing. Izuku. Okay, receives the books. Yoshino. Sees some notes, father, what are these? Izuku. Looks at the notes. They're a plan for my left arm, all that's missing is someone to assemble it. Mine. And the doctors can't. Izuku. If it took me a year to make the first one, they won't be able to make another one. He touches the missing part of his arm. And so a whole week passed. Izuku was discharged, meanwhile at the airport in Japan. I finally arrived. Evan. I'm coming. Back at the hospital, Izuku was filling out the paperwork while Yoshino was playing with Natsumi, since Rain had asked her to look after her while she had some business to attend to. The paperwork was ready. Izuku. Okay, let's go home. Yoshino. Natsumi. Hi. As they walked, some men looked at him with pride, and the women with impression, but Izuku was thinking about what to cook for lunch. Izuku. Okay, let's buy some meat and vegetables, and then we'll have lunch. Yoshino. I want to see you. Natsumi. Yo Lechuga. When they arrived at the market when I was going to pay. Cashier. This is about the house. Izuku. Why, cashier? Because you're our pride, just accept it. Izuku. At least let me pay for it. After that, when they were arriving, Izuku asked Natsumi and Yoshino to go ahead since he had to buy something else, and when he returned, the boy was with a girl. Sorry, I didn't see where I was going. Gets back up. Izuku. There's nothing to worry about. He tries to get up without his left arm. I'll help you. Helps him. Izuku. Thank you. Looks at his left side. Where is your arm? Izuku. I had an accident. Well, I'd better go. Leaves. Upon returning, I prepared lunch, and in the afternoon, Izuku was reviewing the blueprints for his arm again. Izuku. I think I need the hands of a mechanic and a doctor. A little later, Reni arrived to pick up Natsumi. Later that night, Izuku was helping Yoshino with her homework until he received a message from the principal of UA. Message. Izuku Hawkeye Mustang is informed that he will have normal classes if he brings his gloves to activate his quirk. Izuku. Who would have thought? Early in the morning, Izuku did his daily routine, entering the UA and going to the inventors class. Power. Today we have a student from Germany, referred by a friend, looks at the door. Come in. After saying that, the door opens, revealing a girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. Power. Well presented. Winry. Nice to meet you, my name is Winry Rockbell. While in Izuku's class, Mina. Hey, do you know there's a new student? Iida. And what about that? Mina. Who was recommended from Germany? Izuku wasn't fishing because he was thinking about what to do with his left arm, already during recess. Mei. Appears before Winry. Nice to meet you, I'm Hasun Mei. Winry. Nice to meet you. Mei. What do you specialize in? Winry. I don't know how to say this, but I've been trying out prosthetics. Mei. Woo. Winry. I have a question. Where is class 1A? Mei. Gives him the address, but why? Winry. It's nothing. Upon arriving at the first room. Winry. With your permission. Bakugo. Who are you? Winry. I'm just looking for the man with the quirk. Mine. You mean Mustang-san. He left when the bell rang. Winry. Seriously. Mine. Yes, but what brings you here? Winry. It's just that today he lost his left arm when he fought, and it was made of metal. Mine. Well, I think she left some notes about that on her desk. Come on. Mine let Winry in and saw the notes she left behind and was impressed by how detailed they were, but they were written in German. Winry. Amazing. Mine. Do you understand? Winry. Yes, but this is a combination of nerve technology, that is, you connect the nerves to be able to move the arm. Mine appears. Mina. So that's how you make it move so smoothly and without limits. Winry. See. Then Izuku arrives. Izuku. Enters with his eyes closed. What did I tell you about messing with my things? Opens his eyes and notices Winry, or the girl from the station. Prov normal. When Izuku entered and realized that Winry, Mine, Mina, and Uraraka were in their places, the air became tense and somber, but Izuku maintained a calm and relaxed expression. Izuku. She's the girl from the station. Winry. Startled. This. Izuku. Well, calm but with a bloodlust in the air. Mine. Well, she wanted to meet you. Izuku. But I saw her at the station. Winry remembers, that's right, but I never imagined it was you. After that, the tension in the atmosphere dissipates. Izuku. Well, what brings you here? Winry. I think I can help you with your left arm. Izuku. Impressed, we'll talk at recess, you better go to your class. Goes to his seat. He goes to his seat. The others fall due to the great tension created by Izuku, except for mine, since she, being a YouTuber who uploads about Assassin's Alchemist, is already used to the tension of the battlefield she had to record, back in Aizawa's class. Aizawa. Alright, the sports festival is coming up. All except Bakugo. Finally something normal. Aizawa activates his quirk, calm down, slowly, well, this will also help you get internships with the heroines who choose you, and you points at Izuku, better have something planned to support you without your arm. Izuku. Hi. During recess, Izuku was waiting for Winry but at the same time drawing alchemy circles. Izuku. Finishes drawing, I can't believe I'm going to use this again. Receives a call, yes. Hello. Nice to meet you, I'm Izuku Mustang speaking. Izuku. Yes, who is it? I'm from your sister's school. I'm here to inform you that your sister had an accident and you need to pick her up now so you can take her to the hospital immediately. We've already informed your school. Izuku. Okay, hangs up. Izuku gets ready and leaves the classroom with everyone, and while Winry was going to the classroom she sees Izuku running straight to the exit. Winry. What's wrong with him now? Then he runs into Mayan. Winry. Hola Mine-san. Mine. Hola Winry-san. Winry. Do you know why, Izuku-san? Wild Mine appears. Mina. I heard she was going to look for her sister. Mine. Looks at Mina, you really are a gossip. Mina. And I'm proud to be one. Elsewhere, we see anger and gluttony in front of the cell where Riza is imprisoned. Ira. Gluttony, do not vague in the cell. But Riza hits Gyula, who sends him flying out of the cell. Ira. Oh, I thought you had that strength. Riza. Because you say so, because they give me what I need to live, but because they have me, my only son thinks I'm dead. Anger. If he thinks, but he believes that because the transmutation failed, it means that you are alive. Back with Izuku, he had already picked up Yoshino and went straight to the hospital. The reason was that he had broken an arm and a leg, because he had a gym class. Izuku. Usagi, you know you have to be careful. Sitting next to Yoshino's bed. Yoshino. I just wanted to show that I'm not good at anything, looking at her casts. Izuku. You're 9 years old now, you need to have self-control. He puts his hand on the plaster, besides, I'm proud of you, he smiles at her. Yoshino. Of course, he took me in without knowing who I was and gave me everything I could have wished for. Hi, smiles Oto-san, he looks at her, how will my quirk work? Izuku. I don't know, I'll ask the doctor later. Given that, the doctor told her she had an unidentified quirk, which left everyone bewildered. Some researchers wanted to take Yoshino away, but Izuku refused outright. As the days passed, the festival began, and since it was such a large event that the academies had to close, Izuku and Yoshino went with the Kyono family because Yoshino invited them. Midnight appeared at the presentation. Midnight. Hello and welcome to the sports festival. Everyone responded enthusiastically. Midnight. Well, before we present the challenges, let's hear a few words from the first man with a quirk who entered with the highest score. Men from all sides began to shout with joy. Izuku takes the stage. Izuku. Well, I don't know what to say, but let's give it our all. Plus Ultra raises his arm. Everyone applauded, and the first test was a race just like in the anime. At the start, Izuku created an ice gate because he had the transmutation circles, then returned to normal. Mine used her quirk to make a hole in the wall. In the cliff area, Izuku placed a piece of paper on the ground and created 2 pillars. When he crossed to the other side, the first one disintegrated, and when Izuku climbed down from the other, it also disintegrated. The first to arrive were Izuku, Shuka, Bakugo, and mine. In that order, we skip directly to the battle. During the break, we see Izuku sitting on a bench, and then the number 2 heroine of the top 10, Endeavor, appears. Endeavor. Hey, looks at him, I want you to let my daughter win. Izuku. Gets up, I'll do what I can. Leaves. While in the mine versus Bakugo battle, Kazumi won, and now we move on to the fight between Mustang and Todoroki. Izuku. List. Todoroki. This will be easy. Mike. Yeah, Todoroki creates stakes that Ivan directs, but upon hearing a snap, the stakes explode with such intensity that they almost knock her off the platform. Todoroki. What was that? Izuku. I thought you knew her. At that moment, Izuku had a bandage on his hand, and when he removed it, the same symbol he uses with his explosions was visible, and his hand was covered in rocks and metal. Todoroki. What the hell? Izuku. I'd be lying if I said it didn't hurt. Snaps his fingers again. Creates another explosion, but Shuka creates a dome around her. Izuku. Just what I thought. He puts his hand on the ground. When they did that, the dome disintegrated and everyone was left speechless. Todoroki. What did you do? Surprised. Izuku. You don't know what ice is made of. Snaps his fingers again. When he does, he creates a blue call that destroys half of the arena, and with Mike Sensei and Aizawa Sensei. Mike. Woo, what was that? Aizawa. Water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. He decomposed it so that when he snaps his fingers, it will explode completely. And so ended the fight between Shuka and Izuku. Prov normal. After that fight, the platform was destroyed, so Mike gave everyone time to rest while it was being rebuilt. Meanwhile, in the cell with Riza, Lust had arrived from the sports festival. And if you're wondering why it wasn't noticeable, it's because he was in disguise. Anyway, back to the present, Gluttony did what he always does when Lust arrives. Ira. How was the festival? As always, a noble, polite, and curious tone. Lust. It's interesting that the young Mustang uses the circles without his arm, but since he uses fire alchemy, it's very dangerous if he finds out what we're doing. Anger. I know, and that's why I told you not to get in their way. Riza knocks on the door, catching everyone's attention. Lust. Yes, Riza. Did my son win? Weakened. Lust. Won the semifinals, but we'll have to play one with explosions. Riza. I know she will win. While Izuku was resting and preparing to fight Kazumi, right in the stands. Extra 1. I can't believe the number 1's daughter lost to a man. Extra 2. But I'm proud, plus it was on the news that he stopped an attack by villains who were trying to kill all girl. Heroine 1. Her pressure and control will be good in battle. Heroine 2. Who are you referring to? Heroine 1. To the daughter of number 2 of course. While the Kuno were disappointed by the lack of equality they had, already with the homunculi Gluttony, Wrath and Lust. Lust. I think it's about to starts to leave. Oh yeah Riza, what do you want? Riza. Let me go with you, holds the bars, let me see my son. Lust. Okay, but you'll go in disguise. At the festival, Izuku is seen sitting. Izuku. I think I can do something with the snap. I'll try to recreate the equation so it takes shape when using its blue state. While I was thinking about that, mine, Winry, and Natsumi's family appeared, but since there are no people who don't know her secret, Yoshino can open up. Yoshino. Father, how are you? Izuku. Okay, are you having fun? Yoshino. Yes, but then a warning is given. Mike. The final participants are informed to wear their hero costumes but without any power-up or concealed weapons. End the transmission. P from Natsumi. Well, Izuku-san, I don't think you should worry about how to activate your quirk. Izuku. You think so? Sarcastically, well, stands up. Izuku spends some time and goes up to the arena in his suit, and Bakugo. Mike. Begin. Bakugo approached using his explosions and delivered a series of consecutive blows, but Izuku dodged them effortlessly. Bakugo. Stop dodging, keep throwing punches. Izuku put his mind to work to create a wall that Bakugo noticed. Bakugo. Shinny. And made it explode and pushed Izuku near the edge of the platform, but Bakugo, seeing Izuku a little disoriented, took advantage and directed an explosion at his face. But Izuku took the impact but managed to move and not fall onto the platform. But Izuku, upon receiving the impact, was taken to a white area but with the being called Truth but without the door. Izuku. What am I doing here? Truth. I see you're having problems. Izuku. And what do you want? I haven't done anything to bring me here. Truth. Your mind control and cunning with alchemy. Izuku. So what? Truth. I have an offer. Izuku. Which one? Truth. Using your nerve impulses as an enhancer. Izuku. But what is the cost? Truth. You've already paid for it. You have total control over your nerves, so I can only give you permission. Back in reality, Riza and Lust had arrived just as Bakugo gave him the explosion. And Izuku was unconscious from the explosion for a few seconds but was showing signs of getting up. Mike. What do we have here? Mustang is getting up after that. He's got nerves of steel. Bakugo. How can you keep going? Izuku. Doesn't respond. Bakugo. You're just a lucky man. Izuku. Gets ready, but I'm not arrogant. Bakugo. What did you say? Izuku. Snaps. In doing so, he creates a blue flame directly at Bakugo, but he barely dodges it, but Izuku snaps his fingers again, but he does it in such a way that it creates 3 dragon-shaped flames. Each flame had the same shape as a dragon that reached Bakugo in 3 different positions and exploded upon contact. After the dust settled, it was seen that what remained of the sand was where Izuku was, and Bakugo was buried in the wall. Mike. Incredible. Izuku used an extremely rare power. The winner is Izuku Hawake Mustang. All the men were shouting with joy while some women were too, others were like. Bonus. How dare he win? Extra 2. What a piece of trash to dare win in such an important event. After the awards ceremony, Izuku went alone to the lounge, but then a person approached, their face hidden. You had a good fight. Izuku. Thank you, but who are you? Just someone else, but be careful, there are things coming for you. Izuku. As you wish, but I suggest you return or your family will worry. They think I'm dead, downcast, and your mom must be so proud. Izuku. My mom disappeared 5 years ago and they presumed her dead. And what do you think about that? Izuku. She's out there somewhere. I thought she was dead, and I broke a taboo to bring her back, but if I see my mother alive, then I'll know she won't do it again. Question mark. Izuku. I'm sorry, I have to go, gets up, goodbye, leaves. When Izuku left, Lust approached the person calling her Riza. Lust. Where you went? Riza. A tear welling up in her eye. I just went to check something. Lust. We'd better leave before Pride gets us. After that they left the festival and Izuku went home, but Prov normal. 3 days after the sports festival, we see Izuku lying on his back with Winry assembling a prototype of his first automail, while Mine was playing cards with Natsumi and Yoshino. Winry reads the instructions. Okay, now we just need to connect the nerves. Izuku. I hate this part. Winry. Tightening the nut on the joint. Why do you say that? When he did it, it sounded like the wires were being connected, and that sounds like metal hitting a bone. Winry. Nervously, looking at her head. Are you okay? Izuku. Yeah, complaining. I just need to move around a bit and get used to it. Winry. And who do you think will do their internship? Mine. We don't know, we have to wait until they tell us. They already talked about internships in class, but 2 in particular caught our attention, and at recess. Iida. Bakugo. It seems many have arrived. Kazumi. But, looks at Izuku. Hey little fingers, how many do you have? Arrogant tone. I had 15. Izuku. About 20. 20 was Kazumi's max, but Izuku surpassed him. Izuku. Are you mine? Mine. Only 1. Depressed. Over the weekend, the Mustangs went shopping, but the Kuno family accompanied them. The 2 families became friends. Later that night, we see Izuku on the rooftop of a building, staring into space. Izuku. How can I get someone to look after Yoshino while I'm on my internship? Then an explosion occurs, and upon approaching, it is seen that it is a robbery caused by villains who are threatening a family. Villain. Pointing a needle at the daughter's head. Come closer and I'll kill her. Sadistic look. While Mine was hiding, she did a live stream that was watched by 100,000 people, and in the accident, a stone fist is seen hitting the villain, then domes are created protecting the hostages, and then a hooded silhouette is seen. Mine. Who could it be? What do you think? To the camera. I think it's him. Looks back. All you hear is a click and then an explosion. Mine. What? The camera panned and showed the huge explosion, and when it ended, Izuku, as he's known in Assassin's Creed, dispelled the demons and then disappeared into the shadows. Everyone on Mine's live stream was asking why he did that, or if he was really a man. She just said that she thought he was a man, and that's how the stream ended. A few days later, the internship day began, and she left Yoshino with the Kyono family, but as she walked, she noticed Mine following her. Izuku. Mine, can I ask you something? Awkwardly. Mine. Yes. Izuku. Why are you going in the same direction as me? Upon realizing this, they arrived at a run-down building and upon entering saw that it was more of an apartment than an agency. Izuku. Hello, is anyone here? Only one body was seen on the ground. Mine tried to see if she was okay, but then she stood up revealing an elderly lady. Who are you? Mine. She called us about the internship. I am Gran Torino. Izuku. Okay, but isn't that the heroine who was going at high speed? GT. I got it from my grandmother. Mine. So you're our age. GT. About 2 more years. Izuku. Okay, let's do the internship. Walks away. Mine. What's wrong with him? GT. I think he hates heroines. Mine. So, Mize, after so much with the League of Villains, received 2 visits, one from the heroine killer. And of a person in strange clothes, barefoot and with very long hair. Tamura. Because the Stain style. Stain. Do you know the assassins? Well, let's get down to business. Tamura. Who are you? Sent. Just call me envious. Well, my superior wants you to cause a scene in a certain city. Kurogiri. And what do we gain? Envy. More power. What do you think? Tamura. Okay. While Izuku and Mine were training their quirks. GT. To Izuku, for someone who doesn't want to be a hero, you have great control, and on the other hand turns to look at Mine, you only expel power, you don't control it. Mine. I can do it if my hands freeze, I can barely create a dome. The rest happened just like in the canon. Later that night, Mine is seen exhausted and Izuku is fighting GT, but Izuku wins. GT. Who would have thought a man would win exhausted? Izuku. Whatever you say. Mine. AHS's, I know, sad, there won't be a video today. GT. Rejoins, why do you say that? Mine. Well, shows him her channel, I upload videos of vigilante assassins Alchemist, looks at Izuku and he uses the same techniques and moves as you. Izuku. Okay, I'm going out. It will. GT. What's wrong with him? Mine. It's because she has a daughter she picked up on the street, or so it seems. GT. And he takes care of it alone. Mine. Yes, she doesn't have a father and her mother died almost 5 years ago. Then an explosion was heard, and when they went to investigate, they saw it was the League of Villains and the assassins Alchemist fighting the heroine hunter, Stain. Prov normal. After they left, everything was in chaos, and the assassins were seen fighting with the heroine assassin Stain, but how did this happen? About 20 minutes ago, Kurogiri teleported 2 winged Nomus and a few other villains, including Stain. Envy stayed on the other side. Then Tamura gave them instructions, and when they started destroying things, Izuku changed his pattern, put on his hood, and went to fight, but Stain got in his way, and that's where we are now. Stain. With the gun, I've been waiting for this moment, happy. Izuku. Hits her, keep waiting, heartless woman. When he hit her, she fell, and Izuku tied her up and locked her away with alchemy. But a Nomu broke free and escaped, and Izuku chased after it, climbing and jumping across buildings. Mine, who was both impressed and terrified by what was happening right before her eyes, saw 2 Nomu heading in the same direction as Izuku. Mine. Gran Torino. Please let me go to where the assassins are. GT. I'll call and entertain those who are here, if you see them, send your location. Mine. Hey. He returns to the building, puts on his suit, and chases after Izuku, while Yoshino and the Kuno were watching the news report about what had happened. Yoshino. Father, worried. Back with Izuku. Mine was a few meters behind him, but Izuku snapped his fingers to send Stain flying. She recovered and prepared for battle, terrorizing Izuku and Mine, but then hid and started recording a live stream with the title Villain Killer vs Heroine Killer that more than 1,000 people were watching as they stood in battle stances and one of them began to speak. Stain. I've been waiting for this moment, to kill you. Izuku. Why? I'm not doing it for fame or fortune. Stain. That's true, but you're a boy who saw hell itself and paid for it, that's why I'm going to kill you. Izuku. I'm sorry, but I have someone waiting for me, and I can't leave her without family. He prepares to snap his fingers. Stain. You always do that when a crime is committed and you happen upon a criminal and you take care of someone. Ha. I know who you're taking care of. She smiles and that worries Izuku, poor girl, when she finds out that her father is a heartless killer. Mocking tone. Izuku. Downcast, you're dead. Serious and wanting to snap his fingers with all his might. Stain. And then I'll go see her and show her the joy of killing frauds. Ha ha ha, maniacally. Izuku just snapped his fingers with murderous intent. Mine's audience was shocked and proud to have killed a very fearsome assassin, but the villain was acting strangely. Suddenly she began to change shape into a person with long hair and dark eyes and with tattooed rags that attached to her clothes. Izuku. Who are you? Envy. I am envious and I am a. Izuku. Homunculus. Envied. Wow, it seems that old clunker was really keen. Izuku. Where's Stain? Envied. Calm down, don't be harsh, she's behind her, points to mine. And indeed mine. Stain threatened her with her blade to her neck and walked slowly towards them. Izuku. What do you want? Envied. Yeah, just get the family together. Izuku. Shocked and downcast, do you know where he is? Envied. Who? Izuku. Answer. Envied. Hey, calm down, she did visit you at the festival. Unhinged look. Besides, we need you alive, remember? But there's one more. Stain, you know what to do. Stain. Hesitates, but she still tells me what she wants to do. Envied. Mine. Kazuki's family has financial problems, and she uploads videos to help her parents. In other words, she does it for money, and that's why. She digs her hand into the old wound, making it bleed quickly, and removes her hood. This is your assassin's alchemist. The viewers were scared and shocked that the most dangerous vigilante of all, Natsumi, who was watching the live stream because a colleague sent her the link, let out a scream that Yoshino and Rain noticed upon arriving. Rain. Daughter, what happened? Natsumi. With hands over her mouth, it's Izuku-san, shows him. Video. Envied. Look at your assassin's alchemist, he's nothing more than a boy taking care of a girl. Yoshino. Assistada Oto-san. Yoshino. Scared. Father. Runs away. I have to go. Rain. Stops her. Yoshino. Father. Crying and falls to her knees. I don't want to be alone crying. Rain. Calm down, hugs her. Then Natsumi's father arrives and sees the scene. He consoles her and Natsumi, telling them to go to her room. He's about to hit and discipline Izuku on how to take care of a child, but things aren't looking good. Izuku's wound is open again, his identity has been revealed, and he's facing a challenge. The odds are stacked against him. Envied. Taking his hand out of the hole where Izuku went through. Alright, done your job, draw the circle. Looks at mine. Kazuki, we need you to perform a human transmutation. Mine. A what? Envied. That's right, only he knows. Looks at Izuku, but first Stain breaks the camera, looking at Stain. Stain did as he was asked, but Envied held mine to prevent her escape and checked if she had anything that would reveal their location. Stain drew the same circle Izuku had drawn years ago, but with his injury, he couldn't do anything to stop it. Mine, scared but confused as to why Stain was doing what he ordered, saw the circle complete. Once it was ready, she killed Stain in cold blood, placed his body in the center, and looked at mine. Envied. Okay, just approach. You just had to place your hands and that's it. Izuku. Don't do it. Envied. Look who's talking, the one who wanted to transmute his mother. Mine. What? Envied. Better. Lifts it and places it next to the corpse. It just needs to work. It worked, but it caught the attention of the nearby heroines. Mine, who performed the transmutation involuntarily, saw the face of truth for a few seconds and then saw that she returned to the alley, but with great pain. Mine. She looks at her right leg and sees that it wasn't just a pool of blood. WWHHO. Envied. Perfect, only the day is missing. He's leaving. See you on the day he left. Izuku is in mine's state and burns the wound so he can get up and go towards mine. Izuku. Sits beside her. Everything's alright, Everything's alright. Sees the wound, this will stop the bleeding, but it'll hurt. Snaps his fingers and stops mine's bleeding. She seems to have fainted from the pain. Prav Izuku. After that, the nearby heroines arrived, and then I fainted from blood loss and other injuries. They took us to the nearest hospital because even though mine's wound had closed, she had lost a lot of blood, and Ami's wound had reopened. When my daughter found out where I was, she went straight there, but the Kuno family wouldn't let her see me in this deplorable state. After they arrived, they immediately attended to mine, whose parents were praying that her life would not be altered. The next morning, Izuku woke up as if nothing had happened, just tired, and looked around. Izuku. Wow, how many times have I ended up in a hospital? Sarcastically, he recalls, why would they want mine if she doesn't even know about alchemy? He hears a scream coming from the next room. Was that mine? Seconds before, mine had just woken up and was much more tired than Izuku. Mine. What if remembers everything at once and turns pale? If that was true, tries to move her right leg but it's useless. Screams loudly. A minute later the nurse looks inside and immediately calls the doctor who treated her when he arrived. Doctor. Well, this is new. Mine. What are you talking about? Hysterical. Doctors. Years ago, a patient had a similar experience, but it was with his left arm. Mine. Shocked, it was a short-haired one and his name is Hawkeye. Izuku. Appears out of nowhere, they called me. Doctor. Well, you woke up. Izuku. Yes, and I need to talk to her in private. Serious. Doctor. Okay, since it might be about heroes, I don't want to get involved. He left the room. Mine. Did this happen to you? Izuku. Yes. Mine. Was what that guy said true? Izuku. Yes, downcast. Mine. Tell me how it started, tell me the truth. Prav Izuku. I was an orphan and lived in an orphanage where no one loved me, except for one person. There I found some books on alchemy. Riza Hawkeye, one of the women who worked at the orphanage, adopted me. A year passed before she disappeared. After that, I searched for a way to bring her back, but I saw what we call the world, or perhaps the universe, or perhaps God, or perhaps the truth, or perhaps the all, or perhaps one, and for seeing the truth, I lost my left arm. But when I performed the transmutation, I didn't see my mother, I saw a deformed being that wasn't even human. Unlike you, I lost twice as much blood and didn't scream. At that time, I didn't even adopt Yoshino. Izuku. And there you have the truth. Don't tell anyone, and I'll help you get your automail. Mine. Those prostheses. Izuku. I'm warning you, the possession will last a year. Mine. Izuku. Implantation of the union, connection of the nerves, and that's what hurts the most. Mine. But, Izuku. It will last 2 days if I use alchemy, but it will hurt twice as much. Mine. But you mentioned that alchemy, so I can use it too. Izuku. Yes, if I teach you, you'll be able to better control your quirk. Mine. Really? Shocked. Izuku. Yes, you'll have a day to get used to it. Mine. But disheartened, won't you see me as strange? Izuku. I can put an outer layer on it to camouflage it. After that, mine's parents, upon learning what had happened, went to see her. She obviously received a scolding for doing something risky, but also received affection from her parents, who were terrified of losing their daughter. Izuku, who returned to his room, lay down and began to read a book. Suddenly, the door opened, revealing a blue star aimed directly at him. Upon being struck, Izuku looked and saw it was Yoshino, hugging him tightly, on the verge of tears. Before he could say anything, another star flew towards Izuku, but this time it was his father, with an angry expression and holding a list of how to raise a child. However, he was stopped by his wife, Rain, and Natsumi. Natsumi. Dad, stop. He's already hurt, grabbing him by the waist to stop him. Father. Even better. That way the information I'm going to give him will sink in better. Through the ear or through the wound. Trying to move forward. Rain. But first, let Yoshino-chan be with her father. Grabbing him by the shoulders. Father. Father, my dear, first you must know what she is allergic to and what she is afraid of more advanced. Izuku. Hey, sir. He calls his attention. Excuse me, but I'm an orphan and I give my daughter all the love I can. Father. You also cause her suffering. Every time she sees you hurt, she worries too much for her age. Don't you have any consideration? Izuku. Head down, you think I don't have it. You think I don't have it. Looks at him with tears in his eyes. If I didn't do it, they were going to take her away from me. Natsumi. What does he mean? Shocked by this revelation, Yoshino looks at him. Father, what do you mean? Izuku. Visit Mine-san with Natsumi, I need to talk to them alone. After Yoshino and Natsumi go to Mine's room, Izuku, Rain and her husband. Father. Now tell me what it's about. Serious, from the beginning. Without reservation, he told them everything about his life and the taboo that made him a vigilante when he met Yoshino, and how he cared for her with all his love. Izuku. And before the exams, I was helping her with her homework, but they told me that if I didn't participate, they would take her away from me and send her to an orphanage where she would be ignored. That's why I made that decision. Expressionless. The father just gave her a yes, and left the room to see his daughter. Winry said goodbye and left. The next day, Winry visited Izuku, and after he explained what happened, she went to visit Mine, who was reading the comments and the occasional insult from her director. Mine. How annoying. Reading the comments. I know it was risky, but they didn't have to yell at me or insult me. Stops reading the comments and looks at the ceiling. Is it true that I'll be able to walk? Or that I'll be able to improve my quirk? Winry. Appears suddenly. Why don't you ask him? Smiling. Mine. Scares like Foxy. Winry. He thinks I'm ugly, but don't rub it in my face. Pouting. Mine. Sorry, you just came out of nowhere. Avoiding a conflict. Winry. Well, getting to the point, I need to take measurements for your automail. Taking out a measuring tape. After the measurements were taken, he left to have the automail done, and so he spent 2 days visiting and healing from his wounds. On the 3rd day, they discharged both of them. Izuku was sent information to Ua not to exercise. As they were leaving, there were 2 people, one with short dark blue hair, golden eyes, and tall. And the other person was a somewhat short woman with green hair tied up and yellow eyes. Izuku walked past, but as Mine was leaving, they hugged her, indicating that they were her parents. When she told them the news about the new leg and who was going to help her, they saw Izuku, then they saw Izuku again and went to him, and then they talked. Father. What do you mean you can give him back his leg? Izuku. It's possible, but it will take a total of 2 days for him to adapt calmly. Mother. How do you know that? Izuku shows her his left arm, which was the prosthesis she told them about. Mother. Excuse my disrespect, my name is Effa Hanzuki and this is my husband Gunther Hanzuki. And how long did it take you to get used to yours? Curious. Izuku. Just implanting it took me a year, but with her it'll be a day, and the 2nd day will be just adapting. Gunther. A year, seriously. Speechless. Effa. And is it painful? Izuku. It will be, but it'll be worse when we connect it to the nerves, and don't worry, it'll be safe. See you later. Leaves. The next day, Winry arrived at Izuku's house with dark circles under her eyes, and after giving him the automail, she went to sleep on the couch. Hours later, Mine arrived with her father, who was supporting her on his shoulder. Izuku. Thank you for coming. Opens. Come in. Gunther. Enters with Mine. I thought you'd get angry. Sarcastically. Mine. Dad. Angry and a little blushed. I'm sorry, my father is very possessive. Izuku. That's good, I'll go wake up the engineering department and come back. He goes to the other room. Gunther. I thought it would be a bit, how do you say, sitting down, dangerous. Mine. Dad. Annoyed. He's not like that. If he were, his daughter would be running away and would have obvious injuries. Gunther. I know, but is it trustworthy? After that, Izuku came for Mine and they went to the rooms and laid her down. They put instruments and a liter of blood connected to her. Izuku. I suggest you have this handkerchief, handing him a handkerchief. Mine. What is it for? Receiving it. Izuku. So we can hear your cries of pain. Winry, let's begin. Winry. Yes sir, happily. Mine. They began the operation. Needless to say, Mine writhed in pain as they inserted a piece of metal, connected wires to her nerves, and screwed her in. After 23 hours, it was already night. Gunther fell asleep from waiting so long, but he looked worried. On the other side, Mine looked a little tired, as did Winry and Izuku. Winry. Okay, now we just need to connect the nerves. 1, 2, 3 connects them. Mine. Screams as if her nerves were being severed and her organs ripped out. Gunther woke up to the scream and went inside, but saw his daughter holding her new leg with a pained expression. Mine. Writhes in pain. Winry-san, this hurts. Izuku. You'll get used to it, but never put too much weight on it, or you'll bleed out badly. Gunther. Appears go out with my daughter. Izuku. Huh, incredulous. Mine. Dad. Blushing. Izuku. En Blanco. Huh. Mine. Takes some mules and leaves, thank you. Izuku-san. Winry-san left. Winry. Uncomfortable, tired. One question, can I sleep on the sofa? Yawns. Izuku. Okay. The next day, Yoshino came and hugged his father very affectionately. Izuku. How did it go? Happy. Yoshino. Good, but the guy is still furious, just as happy. Izuku. Yummy imagino. Yoshino. Father, what is Winry-san doing sleeping on the sofa? Curious. Izuku. He's been working a lot on Mine's automail, so he's resting. And so they spent a quiet and relaxing Saturday. Izuku had baked hake with salad for lunch. Damn, even my mouth is watering. They played cards, watched movies. Winry woke up and spent some time with them until they left. The next day, Mine and her father were in front of the Mustang's door. Mine. Dad, you know you don't need to come with me. Annoyed. Gunther. I still don't like him, to be honest. Here's something. Izuku. Usagi, stop moving. Yoshino. Father, it hurts. Izuku. Usagi, you know I have to do it. Gunther forced his way in with the most distorted imagination of all, but only saw Izuku combing Yoshino's long hair on the sofa. Now we see father still on the sofa lamenting, and Mine blushing at the scene her father made, and we see Izuku bringing some cups of tea. Izuku. Well, sitting down, what did you come here for? Mine. Bose, I'm so sorry about the scene with my dad, and about your question, I'm having trouble with automail, I can't control it the way I want, showing the camouflaged protector. Izuku. It's because it's your first day, it's normal. As the days go by, you'll be able to do it like breathing. Gunther. But, looks at Yoshino, who is the girl. Izuku. I don't think I should lie to her, scratching his head, she's my daughter. Yoshino. Nice to meet you, I'm Yoshino Hawkeye Mustang. Gunther's mind went blank, a million things raced through his head. Mine was impressed, as her suspicions had been correct, but staring at Yoshino, she recognized him somewhere. Gunther. And who is the mother? With a noticeable streak and wanting to hit him. Mine. Gives her the spark, I remember now, you're the girl from 4 years ago. Gunther. Mine. Finds, look, shows them the fragment. Gunther. Finishes watching the short film, I see, I'm calmer now, but looks at Yoshino, child, hasn't he done anything wrong to you? Yoshino. She has not only given me care and education as if I were her daughter, happy. Gunther. I see, daughter, I'm leaving now. He gets up from the armchair. Mine. But. Gunther. You'll spend some time with them improving your quirk, see you later, left. There was an awkward silence for the three of them in the room until Mine decided to break the ice. Mine. Okay, how can I improve my quirk? Nervous. Izuku simply put the parla together and placed them on a fork to create a kitchen knife. Izuku. Do it, I, on the other hand, gets up, have to make lunch and Usagi has to do her homework. Izuku went to the kitchen while Yoshino did her chores next to Mine, trying to make a knife but only producing a metallic liquid like gallium, which frustrated Mine. Mine. Damn it. Frustrated, why can't I do it? Looks at Yoshino, Yoshino-chan. Yoshino. Yes, without taking her eyes off her tasks. Mine. I know how you met, but weren't you afraid of him? Yoshino. Drops the pencil, to be honest, when I first saw him I thought he didn't care, but when I asked if I could live with him, he understood and took me under his wing. I'm happy here, I don't have any problems at home. Mine. But don't you have parents? Yoshino. Kabisbaha me voting tears. Mine. And why don't you tell Izuku-san? Yoshino. My dad will sue them in most cases, but unsuccessfully. Downcast. Mine. But why? Prof. Yoshino. Before I met him, for as long as I can remember, which was around 3 years old, my parents barely looked at me and hardly gave me enough to live on. They wouldn't let me go to school because they thought I was a waste of time and money. When I turned 5, they took me to a sheep orphanage, that is, they abandoned me. One night, a man kidnapped me for ransom. At that moment, I truly felt despair and darkness consuming me, but he, the light that saved me, was my father. He took me under his wing and raised me as if I were his own daughter. I see him as a father too. Prov normal. After Yoshino told her about her past, she saw mine shedding tears as if it were the end of the world, upon learning all that a little girl had suffered. Yoshino was frightened by this. On the other side was Izuku, unbeknownst to them, since he had never heard how they met. But upon learning, he returned to the kitchen. Izuku. Looking at the pot, is that why you had that nightmare? In a low voice. Meanwhile, elsewhere, envy and anger were seen sitting in front of the cell, and Riza was looking at what appeared to be a photo of him and Izuku before the events. Ira. Miss Hawkeye, why don't you talk about your past? Riza. Downcast. Why would I? Sarcastically. Envy. Everyone has one, even us. Riza. Good. Provincial Governor Riza. Let's just say I wasn't one of the popular kids. I didn't have a quirk, but I always tried my best. My family always had quirks, so since I didn't, I had to make do and manage on my own. At school, the only ones who supported me were a few teachers because my grades were among the best. When I graduated, I found a job at an orphanage. Some time later, I found him, a poor abandoned baby in the rain. I took care of him myself, nurtured him, and then brought him home because the woman in charge didn't want him. I lived with him for a year until you all took me away, faking my death. Riza. I don't know what they want with my son, but he will stop them. Confident. Ira. What? Exclaimed, your precious son is doing exactly what we want. Envy. And you'll be the decoy if things get ugly. She no longer knew what to think, whether this would end badly or whether her son would stop them at all costs. Elsewhere, in the city center, something big seemed to be approaching. Prov normal. With mine and Yoshino, mine was still creating silverware with the cutlery, Yoshino had finished her pending tasks, and Izuku was finishing making lunch, but a certain person was getting frustrated with each piece of cutlery that melted. Mine. Hits her face with the mace. I give up, I can't. Yoshino. Mine-san, onimo intentando adar animos. Mine. Thank you. Suddenly hugs her and Yoshino is surprised. You really are a good girl. Izuku. Appears with the plates. Can you help me? Mine. Let's go of Yoshino. I'm coming. She gets up as if nothing happened and goes towards him. Yoshino was speechless when she saw that he hadn't fallen or hadn't noticed, and Izuku was, how do you say, smiling, and then mine realized. Mine. Looks at him with a plate. What's wrong? Izuku. Are you absent-minded or are you pretending? Looks at his feet for a few seconds. She looked down at her and realized she was walking normally and that it wasn't making her fall. She was happy. Izuku. We just have to have faith. Let's eat. Yoshino. Yes. Allegre. Izuku. But first, he goes to the old cutlery, puts his palms together and returns them to what they were before. You need to know before you act. Mine. I have to keep it in mind. Izuku. Depending on the components and elements of the matter and its mass going to the table. Mine. Looks at Yoshino. Yoshino, in these years you understand what he's saying. Yoshino. Ni idea. Izuku. I'm saying that what you're given in the moment can give you the information and let you know what you're going to do, and I suggest you think about how to create a doll with your quirk and then with alchemy. Yoshino. Why aren't we eating? I'm hungry. She puts a puppy face with her hands on her stomach. Ah, how cute. It's just the way he looks at it, without the hat or the doll. Both. What the hell? Izuku. Let's eat. Today we have ramen. Both. Ramen. While they were having lunch, the Kuno family was having lunch, but Natsumi noticed that her father was very thoughtful. Natsumi. Dad, what's wrong? You seem very pensive. Father. Nothing alone. Rain. Is it because of Izuku? Are you worried? Father. He's the first man with a quirk, and the bad Wonder Woman imitators treat him like a nobody and the cherry on top. He adopts a girl, and they threaten to take her away from him and send him to prison. Rain. More than anything, he was an orphan and saw the bad side of society. Natsumi. Shino say vair. Father. He's not going anywhere. Besides, the boy is a survivor, he's faced death many times. Back at the Mustang's house, they were having a quiet lunch when someone knocked on the door and Mine felt a chill. Mine. Sweating profusely. Please ignore that. Izuku. Why are you sweating snowflakes over that person? He receives no answer. I'm going to go. Mine. No, I'll go. She gets up, goes over there, and opens the door. Yes, Satan. It was her dad who was like, seriously. And her sister, who had the same hair color as her mother, was happy or excited. They entered, and when they did, Izuku and Yoshino were puzzled. Izuku. I have a question. I already know the first one, and second, who is she? Points at the girl. Mine. She is Tuli Hanzuki, my sister. Yoshino. Both. Some time later everyone was on the couch. Tuli was sitting next to Yoshino and Gunther was sitting next to Mine while Izuku was bringing tea. Mine. Tuli, why did you come this time? Trying to smile. Tuli. I came to see how my little sister was doing in her training with her boyfriend. Gunther and Mine were shocked by what they saw, and Yoshino was like, what? They slammed their palms on the table in unison, looking at Tuli. The two of them. Boyfriend. Mine. He's not my boyfriend. Tuli. Yeah, it's just cute. Gunther. He's younger than you, Tuli, and he has a daughter. Izuku. Appears behind Yoshino who. Everyone is startled by the sudden appearance, but they all calm down and recover. Izuku. They serve the tea. Did you come to look for Mine? Gunther. Yes, and how has it been? Mine. He forced me to make a knife out of a fork. Gunther. And. Mine. I just melted it, but gets up as if nothing happened. I can walk better now. Walks happily then sits back down where she was. Tuli. And when is it going to be released? That made the three of them spit out the tea they were drinking, and Yoshino had doubts. Yoshino. My daughter and my father are getting married. Izuku. No, and I'll never go out with anyone. He dries himself and stands firm in what he says. Tuli. I'm sure you two are going to end up together. Editor. Sir, someone leaked information. Me. Call the men in black and neuralize the informant, then lock him up in Chernobyl. Editor. Yes, Izuku. When that happens, the world will be lost to war. Gunther. This is the first time we've had something in common. With his eyes closed. And what are you going to do with the little one? Looking at Yoshino. Izuku. She has classes tomorrow, a meeting the day after, and I have to take her there in the morning, like in our usual morning routine. Tuli. Hey, why don't you go out with my sister? You'd make a good couple. She kept insisting, as if she wanted him to stop taking care of Yoshino or as if she just wanted to find a boyfriend for her sister, but Yoshino felt uncomfortable. The atmosphere grew cold and ice roses began to form. When Izuku saw Mine. What's wrong? Izuku. If it's not Mine. He sees Yoshino who was creating the roses and he gets excited. Usagi hugs her. Activate your quirk. Prov normal. It was a Monday morning. Yoshino is seen waking up and looking out her window, remembering what happened yesterday. Yoshino. Yoshino felt uncomfortable as the atmosphere turned cold and ice roses began to form. Izuku. Seeing Mine. What's wrong? Izuku. If it's not Mine. He sees Yoshino who was creating the roses and he gets excited. Usagi hugs her. Activate your quirk. Yoshino. Looks at her hand. My quirk. Looks at the time and it's 7:30 a.m. I fell asleep. She quickly changed and went to the dining room, where she saw her father sitting watching the news. Next to him was a breakfast that looked perfectly balanced and delicious. She simply sat down and greeted Izuku. Yoshino. Hello, Dad. Izuku. Hola Yoshino. Her morning was calm to a certain extent. On Yoshino's side, upon arriving she was greeted by Natsumi as always, but already in her classroom. Teacher. Well, in 3 days there will be a university camp and permission has been given for another class to join us. Everyone gets excited. Student. Awesome. Student. With the UA, it's a dream. Yoshino. Blank. On Izuku's side, he was giving Mine advice on how to use her quirk without freezing, and Uraraka stepped in front of Izuku. Uraraka. Izuku-kun, were you really the security guard? In front of the desk. Kazumi. Hears from a distance, like he would be a ruthless killer. Mina. Appears out of nowhere, has many similarities. Kazumi. Okay, tell me which ones. As if she knew. Mine. The quirk, the attack mode, the suit, what more evidence do you need? Kazumi just clicked her teeth and then class started where Aizawa-sensei was going to make an announcement. Aizawa-sensei. In 3 days you'll be doing a training camp with Class 1B and the Pussycats at a school called Aoyama Gakuin. After saying that, Izuku froze because of what had been said before, but he didn't show it to the others. The reason was that it was the name of Yoshino's school. Izuku. Los Muntang. At lunchtime, Izuku was in a secluded place, since thanks to Mine's video it was revealed that he was the vigilante from years ago. Izuku. How did I end up like this? Looks at the sky, how will I deal with Yoshino? Meanwhile, Yoshino went with Natsumi to their usual lunch spot. Natsumi was excited, but she saw Yoshino looking thoughtful. Natsumi. Shino, what's wrong? Yoshino. I'll tell you if you tell me why you're so excited. Natsumi. Wonderful move, with her arms crossed. Well, the teacher said we'll be going to another camp with the UA and another class. Yoshino. Natsumi. Yoshino. Nothing, they just told me the same thing. Natsumi. And, we can be together. With an excited movement. Yoshino. It's because of my dad, and my uncle, not to mention that only Mine-san and Winry-san know that he's my father. Natsumi. Don't worry, I've got your back, with a like. After that, the rest of the day passed. 3 days went by. At the meeting, Izuku knew what they would say. Already at Yoshino's academy, Yoshino's class was 31 and Natsumi's was 1A. They took the same bus. Already on the trip, Yoshino. Natsumi, how do I take the uncle to camp? Natsumi. Let's just say I could only be near you and Izuku need to get through the championship. Yoshino. Hey, at least we'll be able to play. Then a huge explosion is heard, everyone sees what looks like a massive blaze. Natsumi. Was it him? Yoshino. I think so, a little embarrassed. It's already 1:30 p.m. and when they arrive they see the UA's first year burned, except for Izuku, who was reading a little book, and the Pussycats looking a bit disappointed. Yoshino's teacher. May I ask what happened? Confused. Aizawa. I know, I'll explain. Minutes earlier, on the road, the buses had stopped at a cliff leading to a forest, and then a retro vehicle appeared. Aizawa. Thank you for coming, with a bow. Then 2 girls dressed as cats appear, one in red and the other in light blue. Red. In a radiant gaze. Celeste. Sharply cute and feline. Ambus. Wild pussy cats. They were in a very strange and conspicuous situation and everyone from the one to the one was like, let's see what happened, and Izuku had a face like, what mess have I stumbled into? Aizawa. The professional heroines who will be with us, the pussy cats. Izuku. With a Saitama face, looks at Aizawa and points at the pussycats. Sensei, you haven't mistaken them for some mountain circus veterans, have you? That's what the pussycats will react to in that comment. And that the one in light blue grabbed Izuku's head roughly, her words filled with annoyance. Celeste. I'm 18 at heart. And I'm not a clown. Izuku. I'm sorry, enduring the pain with a dead face. Aizawa. Well, say hello. All. Nice to meet you. Mandalay. Well, all this land is ours, he shows it to them, and you will stay at the foot of the mountain. Everyone, Izuku, Shuka, and Kazumi, so far away. Uraraka. And why are we stopping here? Suyu. No esser. Rikido Sato fem, it can't be nervous. 0. Aren't we going to the bus? Quickly, everyone agreed, since they all had a bad thought, but. Mandalay. It's 9:30 a.m. now, she bares her claws with a sinister touch, if you hurry, maybe it will be 12:30. Everyone except the three named, who remained unfazed, got scared and ran towards the buses. Mandalay. Kittens that don't arrive by 12:30 don't get lunch. Aizawa. I'm sorry. At that moment, Pixie Bob stepped in front of them, and Izuku instinctively clasped his hands together. Pixie Bob placed her palm on the ground, causing it to rise and leave them beside the forest. Mine. The ground is rising up. Mandalay. Sees them from above. Hey. You can use your quirks, you have 3 hours. She could see how everyone was looking at her, very dirty, but she didn't see Izuku. Mandalay. Cross the forest of beasts on your own 2 feet. Everyone was startled by the name, but Mine noticed Izuku's absence. Mine. And Izuku-san. 100 only the floor. Izuku. Here. Everyone turns to look at Izuku, who is completely covered in dust, and they are all confused. Kazumi. Damn it, how did you end up like this? Angry enough to have a vein bulging. Izuku. By the wall points. Everyone sees that he uses his quirk to hold on and ends up on the ground without a scratch. Kirishima. I see, now I understand how you survive even when you're on the verge of death. She said it as if she were defeated. Izuku. Well, see you later. He jumps from tree to tree. Kazumi. You won't beat me. Follows him. I will not allow the same man to beat me twice. The students started well, but Kazumi was only focused on Izuku and exploded everything that bothered him, but Izuku. Izuku. Laughs. Damn, it has no delicacy whatsoever. Notice a strange smell. Methane. Not propylene. It also has acetylene. It's gas, it's too much natural gas, I'd better not use alchemy. Here's Kazumi's explosion and gets scared. Damn it. He puts his palms together and falls to the ground. When he created a tunnel that descended 3 to 4 meters, and when Kazumi made a simple spark, it caused a large explosion that Yoshino and Natsumi saw at that moment in their location, and currently. Izuku. And with that tunnel I got here in 2 hours and I stayed reading, and when the others arrived, you all arrived. Points to Yoshino and Natsumi's classes. Pixie Bob. But we actually thought it would take longer. They didn't have as many problems as I thought. Especially the boy and the blue-haired girl, because of their experience. At that point she licks her lips. And he lunges. I want it in 3 years, I beg you. Izuku clasps his palms together, and mine does too, because her body reacted to what couples call jealousy, and they create a chain of limestone and high-carbon metal and chain her up as if she were an animal. Izuku. Annoying, cat in heat, we have children. In Yoshino and Natsumi's classes there are 40 students. 5 of them are boys, and everyone was confused, until Mine saw the boys and got excited. Mine. Yoshino-chan hugs her tenderly. I didn't think you'd come with Natsumi-chan too. Hugs her equally tenderly. Teacher. Ito, who is she? And Yoshino, you said your relative would come. Izuku. Excuse me, she's my friend, and takes out a piece of paper and hands it to her. Here you go. Yoshino's partner. Ito Hawkeye-san, who is? Teacher. It's his brother Izuku Hawkeye Mustang, the first man with a quirk. Colleague. The one from the news. Izuku. And if that's the case. Hey buddy. Can I have your autograph? From serious to excited, the 38 students from Yoshino's class and 39 from Natsumi's class surrounded him, but the teacher separated them a while later. Afterwards, everyone was preparing everything for lunch. The 1B classes were assigned to collect wood with Natsumi's class. Izuku, Mine, Yoshino, Bakugo, Iida, and other classmates from Yoshino's class would be in charge of preparing dinner. Iida. Mustang and kids, bring the vegetables. Hawkeye-chan, bring water. The rest of us will prepare the meat. Izuku and the children went to get the vegetables. Child. Sir, how did you obtain your power? Izuku. Looks at him and then takes some vegetables, putting death and God in his face. Child 2. And where are your parents? Carries a bag. Izuku. They travel for work. Boy. But why does Yoshino have different colored hair? They also go back. Before Izuku could answer, he heard Iida scream. The reason? He cut his finger trying to cut the meat. Izuku. Let's see. He hands the box to Mine and takes the knife. Rookies. He cuts the meat without problems and also makes dinner quite easily and puts it on the fire. Ready. He puts on his gloves and snaps his fingers. Is it really that difficult for you? Bakugo. Shut up already. The next day, everyone went to a nearby cliff to train their quirks, pushing them to their limits. However, one important detail: he left with Tiger, Kirishima, and the metallic version of Class 1B. They trained in the forest next to the cliff while the younger students watched. Mine tried to create ice walls using alchemy mixed with her quirk, which only made them collapse. Yoshino, Mine-san, Anamo, Natsumi, and Uzuku ni, I didn't hear any explosion. Then the most predictable thing happened, an explosion. Child. I think there was an explosion. Then the cliff face shattered, revealing Tiger with scratches and a splattered face, Kirishima with his quirk activated in the same way as Tiger, and Tetsu in the same way as Kirishima. Then Izuku appeared with his right arm exposed, his toned arm uncovered, causing half the girls to blush, including Shuka, Mine, Pixie Bob, who also had a nosebleed, and Abara. Natsumi. A little flushed. Izuku ni, what happened? Izuku. Well, Prof. Izuku, we were in the forest. Kirishima and Tetsu were training their quirks and I was just reading a book, but Tiger told me to train my quirk or fight the three of them, and I decided to fight. Prof. Normal. Izuku just stood there and the three of them went after him, but he dodged in circles while creating pillars with a certain curve. Tetsu, with his quirk activated, stopped joining. Hitting the pillars. Izuku. Creating more pillars, are they stupid or something? Kirishima. Shut up. Doing the same to Tetsu. He waited a while until Tiger realized something. Tiger. Stop, you're doing what he wants. The two of them. What? Breaking the last two pillars. When the pillars fell, a circle formed with a pattern similar to that of Izuku's gloves. Then Izuku used alchemy between three trees as pillars, but the three trees broke them and trapped Izuku with the pillars. Tiger. Now you really won't be able to use your quirk. Izuku. Are you sure? With his left hand on the ground and the other with the glove, ready to snap. Tetsu. $1. Izuku. What do you think? Snaps his fingers. When he did so, the circle reacted, and since he was in an area that wasn't within the mark below him, a layer was created to protect him, and in that moment a large explosion occurred, only burning his right sleeve. Back to the present. Izuku. And that's what happened. Pixie Bob. And you could say you trained. Izuku. I didn't just feel nostalgia. Mine. Returns from the nosebleed, so you'll help me improve my quirk. Izuku. Okay. Mine was happy, but everyone got angry, and Natsumi used the weapon instead of everyone else. Natsumi. Why? Natsumi. Why? Izuku. Because a certain person interfered, their quirk took on a certain similarity to mine. Everyone turned to look at Mine, who blushed. They continued training, and in Izuku's case, he forced Mine to repeat the previous training exercise of trying to create knives, but with the difference of finding and using metals. Meanwhile, in the distance, where there were drinks on a table, a child could be seen hiding under it, looking serious. Child. Incompetent gets up and goes towards them with the drinks. When they arrived, everyone saw that she was a girl with short black hair, wearing a red hat with horns, no more than 5 years old. She literally looked like a child of 5 to 30 years old. The only ones who noticed her were Mandalay and Izuku. Izuku noticed her distinctive walk and facial features. The others thought she was an adorable boy, but what she said changed that. Girl. Why do you let a man do whatever he wants? Everyone was silent for a second, but Mine answered instantly, as did Natsumi. Mine, Natsumi. Out of respect. Uraraka. More than respect, I'd say fear. Mine. And why? Turns to look at her. Mina. Well, the attack, when it attacked the Nomu without mercy and survived a stab wound to the abdomen, the killer instinct you have and that you were one of the most fearsome. Yoshino. Well, I think they're exaggerating. Izuku. What they said was absolutely true. Hey girl, why are you asking? Girl. Lowers her head, throws the drinks and then runs away. Izuku. What's wrong with him? Mandalay. Not here. After everyone said that, they all went back to what they were doing except for Izuku, who went to talk to Mandalay privately. Mandalay. Her name is Kita. The truth is, her mother, my sister, was a pro-hero and she mostly lived with her father. Even though men were of a lower status, like slaves, Kita always liked being with her father. But one day her mother was on guard duty where she and her father were when a villain attacked. Her mother died trying to save everyone, and her father was protecting her. From then on, she no longer trusts men. Izuku. And that's why he's acting like that. Mandalay. Yes. Elsewhere, the entire class 1A and 1B were resting, and the students from Aoyama Gakuin Academy were chatting peacefully. It was already night, and everyone was calmly preparing a campfire until, boom. An explosion caused the forest to burst into blue flames. Everyone was a little worried, but they forgot that Katsumi, Uraraka, and Tsuyu were there. Greater than 3 hours ago less than. The league is seen with 2 new members, one was a blonde girl wearing high school clothes. And another with a gothic touch and with a certain sign of cooking on the skin. Tamura. Well, are you going to join us or not? Yes. A male voice sounded from the shadows. Everyone went on guard but they didn't expect it to be a man with short black hair, glasses, and thug-like clothes, plus a symbol on his left hand. Tamura. Who are you? Let's just say I'm a friend of envy, I'm Greed. Kurogiri. And where is Stain? Greed. Knowing envy, I kill it. Tamura. Greed. Anyway, I have information on where your beloved class from Laua is. Back in the present, we see how the villains attack without any apparent motive, although some showed signs of searching for someone. Well, Izuku fortified the windows a bit, and when he went to Mandalay. Mandalay. Remembers the people she saw at the last moment. Wait a minute, and Kota. Izuku. What's happening? All the children are here. Mandalay. My niece, Kita, is not here. Izuku. She can't be far away, I'll go look for her but. Izuku went straight to search the forest, and on a hill with a cave, he saw Kita watching everything from a distance. But then he heard the bushes move, and when he peeked out, he saw someone Kita never wanted to see again. It was a muscular woman with short blonde hair, missing a spot on her left side. She looked completely like a man. Well, look who we have here, a familiar face. Kita. Cannot speak. Well, it doesn't matter since you'll be going to the other side anyway. Before he could do anything, and the fireball made him retreat, Kita looked and what she saw gave her a small ray of hope. It was Izuku with his gloves and his trigger finger ready to fire. Izuku. Muscular. I thought you went to hell. Muscular. Ha, as if I could. Glances sideways at Kita and remembers. Ah, now I remember. You're the daughter of the bastard who did this to me. Puts his finger in his left eye socket. And how do you know my name? It's not natural for the most feared assassin to know the name of someone who isn't his victim. Izuku. But I have to take the daughter of the bastard who did that to you with me. Muscular was only at high speed but Izuku dodged it. Looking closely he saw that every muscle fiber in his body surrounded and strengthened his body. Izuku. I see. Obviously muscular. My quick allows me to accelerate the muscle fiber that gives me more strength and speed. Izuku. I see that, but one question, do you know how cancer is created? They both realize what he meant. Muscular. Damn it. Lunges. Kita. Why is he so calm? It's as if he's done it a million times. She sees her father in him. He's not like my mother. It's as if he lived through the hell my father went through. All men suffer, some more than others, but he. Muscular. I'll kill you. Inches away from Izuku, but he just clasped his palms together and dodged, struck the nape of his neck, then muscularly knelt down. Muscular. Damn it, what did you do? Izuku. I just created a cancer based on your quirk. Kita. What? Izuku just goes towards Kita, takes her in his arms, puts her on his back and runs off. Izuku. Yoshino, mine, Natsumi Iguanten. He left, skipping around, avoiding the fire. Some villains, on the other side, you can see how the professionals were facing something that looked like clones, but then a man appeared and that was Greed with Tamura and the most sadistic look. Greed. Well, who is Mustang? Aizawa. Everyone, protect the children. Greed's sad face pokes Yoshino's eye. Bingo, disappears and reappears behind Yoshino. Not everyone could see it, but nothing was heard until an icy explosion covered the area, destroying the room. Aizawa, seeing what was happening, saw something incredible. There were vines, the scent of roses, and most of them were protecting Yoshino, who was unconscious. Natsumi barely glances at Yoshino. What is that? Falls unconscious. Greed. Oh, I see, he hasn't mastered it yet. Gets up with a lack of heart, his lungin with great blood loss. Wow, that surprised me. Shuka. Shocked, how are you still alive? Greed. I raise a finger in a sign that he should wait, and his body regenerates inhumanly possible, so much so that not even a could at that speed. Much better, and if you'll excuse me, I'll take the little one. He takes Yoshino and carefully leads her away. Izuku, being nearby, sees them arrive together with Katsumi through a purple portal. Izuku. Asastada Yoshino. Izuku. Yoshino. Asastada. On the other side of the portal, the entire gang of villains and greed can be seen carrying an unconscious Yoshino. Tamura sees the girl. Well, this wasn't the deal. The deal has changed. A deep, serious voice was heard. Everyone turned towards where the voice was coming from, and there appeared an elderly gentleman with long blonde hair and a beard, wearing a classic-style robe. Next to whom there was anger, gluttony, and envy. Tamura. Kurogiri, bring the teacher here. In a low voice, Kurogiri understands her. A second later, AFO arrives with a somewhat angry tone. AFO. What's happening? I've come to take certain people away. I'm in charge of you. Greed. Of course, father. After that, the being known as Greed kills Kurogiri, Magna, and twice, but then gets bored and treats Yoshino like a sack of potatoes. Greed. Anger. Why don't you take care of the rest, but leave the masked one, the blonde one, and the one with the scars alive? She starts to walk away, then a rain of blood and heart-wrenching screams begin. AFO. Seeing the massacre, what do you want? Father. He plunges his arm into his chest, pulling out his heart, the ones everyone wants. He crushes his heart, making the death very horrible. At the camp, things weren't any better. Izuku saw the worst thing he had ever seen. Izuku. Blank. Why, Yoshino. The dejected man gets up and walks away from the others, but then Mine, Natsumi, and Kita grab his arm to stop him. Mine. Izuku, calm down, I know we'll find her. Trying to cheer him up. Izuku. Move aside without looking at them. Kita. Turns to the group. Auntie, what's happening to Izuku ni? That made everyone come closer. Aizawa. Calm down, kid. Let's come up with a plan to rescue her. Katsumi. Clicks his teeth and speaks slowly. All this fuss over a crybaby brat. No one heard her, but Izuku, despite the distance, heard her with such clarity that he snapped his fingers, creating a wall of pure blue and melting the camouflage on his left arm, surrounding the explosive blonde and causing her to abandon her pride and become frightened. Izuku, with a murderous instinct that no one thought existed and everyone was on the verge of fainting, say that again and I swear I'll kill you. He puts his palms together and creates a pillar that throws him far away. Mine. Izuku, worried. Natsumi. Worried about her only and best friend, almost like a sister, and her friend and uncle. Aizawa. Worried, quickly come up with a plan to save Yoshino Mustang. Class 1B will escort the younger students immediately. Now in a nearly familiar place, Lust is seen in the same cell, and Riza is meditating and remembering her life before all this. Lust. So, when your son has a birthday, I'm really bored. Riza. Don't think I'll tell you. Lust. Well. Just then, Greed arrives with Yoshino in his arms, opens the cell, puts Yoshino inside, and closes it. Greed. It's her, be careful, father wants it that way. Lust. Understands what was said. Oh, I see. Riza. Trying to see if she's okay. Hey kid, are you okay? Shaking her to wake her up. Yoshino. Manages to wake up. Where? Gets up. Am I? Gets nervous. Where's my dad? Riza. Calm down, are you okay? Trying to calm her down. What's your name? Yoshino. Yoshino Hawkeye. Riza is impressed, but then she remembers what Lust said. Memory. Lust. But I fought splendidly, excitedly, and only to protect a little girl, so she laughed. Gluttony. Does he have a daughter? With a finger in his mouth. Lust. Yes. Looks at the cell. You should be happy, he saved her. Your son is very pure, don't you think, Riza? Riza. Impressed. You're Izuku's daughter. Yoshino. Who are you? Riza. Oh, excuse me, I'm Riza Mustang. It's a pleasure to meet you, granddaughter. Giving her a warm smile. Yoshino. Shocked. Are you my grandmother? Riza. Even though it pains me to admit it, yes, I am your grandmother. Yoshino. But how? I can tell you. The same serious voice appears, being the father of the homunculi. Riza. What? Proverbs. Father. Once upon a time, in a humble place amidst the rain, there lay a baby, no more than a year old, at the entrance. A nun from the orphanage took him in, but despite the time that passed, no one wanted him except her. She gave him advice and raised him, and for certain reasons, she adopted him and made him her own. Little did she know that she would bring misfortune, for she knew he loved alchemy books. After a year, she suddenly disappeared, leaving her 6-year-old son alone. In desperation, he turned to alchemy books and committed the taboo act of creating artificial life. But the result was not what he expected. For his sin, he lost a limb in exchange for a small ability. He met and took in a girl with a similar past. Father. That leads to the now. Riza. What do you want? Father. What is it that I want? Is it what humans want? Power, supremacy, immortality. I say all of them, only the cost would be. Riza. What are you saying? Father. Don't you know the law of the universe? Equivalent exchange is receiving something of equal value, and the cost of what I want is 600,000 people. Riza. What? You plan to kill all of Japan? He stared at them with a serious face and then left. Back in the city, it was already daytime. Everyone was strolling peacefully until a powerful explosion erupted, causing the building to collapse. At Ua, everyone was wondering what had happened until Aizawa arrived. Aizawa. Put on the news. They watch the news and don't believe what they hear and see. News report. Breaking news. Large groups of villains are desperately heading to the cells and several newly discovered villain headquarters have been raided. Other reports show that in the headquarters there are villain corpses with cruel symptoms of torture with a white sheet of paper. Listen to a fresh, new news. There is a witness to the events. Suddenly the image changes to the last building where a villain stood with a blanket and fear in her eyes. Reporter. Puts the microphone in front of her. Tell me what happened. Villain. Looks at them fearfully. I'm back. I was like a demon with a trembling voice. Reporter. Confused. Excuse me, who are you talking about? Villain. Looks at her. Did you forget? He was the one who spread fear among us. He was the assassin's alchemist. Those in the room were astonished, and one of them was mine, who was even more astonished than usual. Aizawa. How is it possible that a child could cause such destruction? Shuka. And in a short time, it's like an animal hunting its prey. At Natsumi's house it was different. Her father was, well, worried about Yoshino but relieved that Izuku had taken care of Natsumi. At the same time, he sensed Izuku's desperation at not being able to find his daughter. Inside the house geographically close to Riza and Yoshino, they were sitting down when a small explosion was heard. Some were a little worried, but one was frightened. Henchman. Looks where the explosion was heard. Hey, boss, don't you think we should, Boss. Be quiet, it's just one. Henchman 2. Yes, but it's one of the most dangerous. Boss. They're alone. Before it ends, the room where they were showing Izuku explodes, revealing a very angry Izuku with an aura of the same power as at the camp. And then she composes herself and then pulls out a hidden blade. Izuku. Approaching her. Where is she? Boss. Who? Izuku approached, but a woman lunged. He turned to look at her, seeing she had a piece of iron, but he dodged it and killed her while dodging. Lu returns to where the boss was, grabs her shirt collar, and looks at her with a murderous gaze. Izuku. Where is it? Boss. AFO, where is he? Then the semi-destroyed TV cuts out. Reporter. She is informed that the body of a foe and most of his entourage have been found. No one knows who he was, but it is destroyed because it is on the verge of collapse. Izuku just plunged the blade into his left shoulder and then said. Izuku. Do you know who it was? Boss. I don't know, I just know they were with a guy with a weird tattoo trying to save themselves. Izuku. Draw. It takes out the paper. She drew with her blood, fearfully, until she made a dragon symbol. Izuku. Gets scared and even angrier. Only one of you will live. At the base of the homunculi, they were in what looked like the center or a heart with many ducts, with father in the center reading a book, and in the cell, There was lust and gluttony as always, along with Riza and Yoshino. Then Wrath arrived with his usual calm tone. Lust. And what happened? Wrath. The beast has been unleashed. Gluttony. What does that mean? Ira. The sacrifice is massacring all the bases and it's reaching this far because of her, points the sword at Yoshino. Yoshino. What do you mean by beast? That's my father. He will. Yes, and he's doing very well despite the time that has passed since he last killed anyone. Riza. And what will they do if he's out of control? Lust. That's why we have you. With Izuku, they were on the roof of an apartment cleaning their daggers of blood, thoughtful but equally desperate. Izuku. An unknown group with unknown intentions and with the only clue being that brand. But now that I remember, that Ira guy and the one from the camp had the same mark. A few points ago, according to the location of AFO's death, it's parallel to the hospital where they tried to treat me, meaning it's in the center. But this shows that if there are more accidents, they could create blank, a giant transmutation circle. With the UA, they were still in a war room style with no information or communication from Izuku, but with him alone he did something that only mine would understand. It was M, C, H and his representative symbol with a hidden blade pointing downwards, which not everyone understood but it was broadcast throughout TV. Aizawa. M, H, C and that. AG. He went mad with despair. Shuka. What would that be for? I don't believe in the periodic table. Mine. M, C, H, it doesn't look strange at all, because he put a C in the middle. He realizes I know. Todoroki-san was right. Metal, carbon, hydrogen, and the symbol is related to his name, Alchemist, and think about where he went into seclusion. Mina. In a hospital, not understanding. Uraraka. Realizes her initial, H. Aizawa. And the M. Mine. The death of AFO. AG. Understands, so the C is for center, where there's a map. Neza. Passes it on, how can something so simple be so complex, even for me? Mine. Let's just say he sees it from a different perspective, it's as if the universe itself is punishing him for something. Aizawa. Remembers what happened years ago, that kid is quite a mystery. Suyu. Not that I'm saying it. Mine. Maps the points, if the hospital and the murder are aligned the center must be their circles. Neza. Still doubtful but its symbol and graphic representation make me see something. Aizawa displays the symbol. Aizawa. Yes he does it and looks at it well, but what? Looks at him, call the inspector from the 6 or 7 year case. When called he didn't answer, but mine looked at him closely and saw him. Mine. And if he puts the map where the symbol is and sees that they match in everything, how do we connect? AG. Let's go and ask. Everyone went to the area, but all they saw was a large egg made without explosions. Minutes earlier, Izuku was seen in the center of it all, but before he made the egg, he found a puppet of a white council member with a kind of eye patch. It was all dilapidated, and inconveniently, he took it and made the hole with alchemy, and now we are in the present where we see everyone from the war room passing through some tunnels with tubes that went in the same direction, but being attentive they heard some footsteps approaching and everyone went on guard. Aizawa. Demonios. Mine. Don't you think it could be Izuku? Mina. No way, if it's him, I wouldn't mind going out with him, even if it means he's covered in acid. Mine. Pale at what was said. Tam. The steps until 2 leaves are seen until an older man with an eye patch and 2 more swords on his back mounts. Ira. Counting to them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, that's more than normal. Mine. Who are you? On guard. Ira. My name is Ira, and I see that you are the sacrifice made by envy and the one who was close to greed, in a calm and friendly tone. Upon hearing the names of envy and greed, she froze, to the point that she knelt down in fear, worrying everyone there. Ira. Oh, I see, so that's it. Mina. In front of mine, what's that? Suddenly, anger disappeared and reappeared in their midst, serious and with his gaze fixed on mine. Ira. I really feel sorry for humans, stabs him in the right leg with the blade. Everyone was scared, but he just broke it in half, showing that it was metal, and then he just looked at her. Ira. Wow, they certainly taught you well, but not well enough. He was about to get up to kill them all, but something happened. There was a clicking sound, and suddenly a blue flame shot out, revealing Izuku with his angry killer face. Izuku. It was a bad idea to bring them. Ira. Well, I think there are a few hours left until the eclipse, so I'll see you then. Izuku Mustang and Mine Hanzuki disappears into the darkness. After Ira left, everyone relaxed a little, but then Kaminari screamed and everyone looked to see what was happening. Where Ira had uncovered himself, blood was coming out and everyone was worried, but Izuku approached him and knelt down looking at the wound. Uraraka. You pig. Seeing Izuku staring intently at Mine's legs, can't you see she's hurt? Izuku. And can't you see you're fat? The attack was effective. Ochako Uraraka's HP was reduced to 0, and she fell to her knees crying. Stuyu used a brasso to comfort her. Izuku. Checks where the flesh and automail are. I see, the sword grazed a vein, I'll heal it but it will hurt. Snaps his fingers. When he did that, Mine felt so much pain that she remembered something. I remember. It worked, but it caught the attention of the nearby heroines. Mine, who performed the transmutation involuntarily, saw the face of truth for a few seconds and then saw that she returned to the alley, but with great pain. Mine. She looks at her right leg and sees that it wasn't just a pool of blood. WWHHO. Envid. Perfect, only the day is missing. He's leaving. See you on the day he left. Izuku is in Mine's state and burns the wound so he can get up and go towards Mine. Izuku. Sits beside her. Everything's alright, everything's alright. Sees the wound. This will stop the bleeding, but it will hurt. Snaps his fingers and stops Mine's bleeding. Mine. Holding back the urge to scream and hit Izuku. What the hell? Izuku. Finishes and sees AG and Aizawa-sensei. You'd better leave, it's clear they want you dead. Mine. No. Izuku. Yes. Mine. No, we came here for you, Yoshino. We won't leave without you. Determined. Everyone was astonished by the intense alpha aura she exuded and by her motherly, housewife-like tone. Reader. One question. Does the dead mother have that hairstyle? Me. Which one? Reader 2. Ed's mother's and the one from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Me. Oh no, hopefully not, otherwise Mina wouldn't have anyone to ship Izuku with. Izuku. Fed up by his attitude, you can't even walk and you want to save her. Mine simply gathers all the pieces of her already destroyed automail and clasps her palms together to create a new automail, much to Izuku's surprise. She gets up and continues forward, leaving everyone else in awe. Izuku. Comes out of his trance. You, at 1 a.m, if he hasn't killed Mine it's because he needs her, he will kill you. Leaves. Mina. Do we obey? Katsumi. No way, if there's an enemy, he'll just run away. AG. No, let's go. Mustang Show apparently knows more about the subject. Katsumi. But why? He's a man. Aizawa. I know what you're saying, but put that pride aside and think for once. After that, they just left and Izuku had already caught up with Mine. Mine. Go away without looking at him and Izuku doesn't respond. I don't need your help. The same thing and Mine gets angry and turns away. Why aren't you saying anything to me? Izuku. What do you want me to say? You're optimistic and proud, and a good friend. Mine. Huh, Izuku. But you're good, you could say the only one I can trust. She blushed and they continued on to a room where they saw notes from about 3 more people and confidential police reports, but without data, and Izuku and Mine's. They also found accidents in my category, extremely bloody, totaling 5, and Izuku began to look at them closely. Mine. Izuku, what's wrong? Izuku. This sounds familiar. If I put it here and here, it moves the papers around a bit, but not enough to create something that terrified Izuku. It was a large-scale human transmutation circle. Izuku. What the hell? Mine, seeing this scared me so much I vomited. Izuku. You're okay, this wouldn't normally cause this problem, while patting him on the back. Mine. Catches breath. It's not that, when they forced me, remembering that then vomits again. Izuku. Calm down, calm down. If this is what I think, the entire city of Musudafu will be in danger. I'm not surprised you knew. After that, a kind of needles shot straight at Mine, but Izuku stopped it with his left arm. Izuku. Holding the needles back but they returned to the host. What are you? Era. Aren't you surprised? How new? The others have nightmares about this. Showing a woman with a good figure, black hair, and a chest tattoo. Izuku. Now what? A homunculus child. Lust. How daring. But since you've seen this, I don't want you to leave here conscious, and since your girlfriend looks terrified, I think she'll be very docile. They were paralyzed and mine was terrified. Everything she did for her videos was nothing compared to this. Elsewhere in the prison, only Gluttony is seen asleep, with Riza and Yoshino watching him. Riza. There's no sound at all. Yoshino. But isn't he asleep? Riza. Yes, but he might wake up. He has a keen sense of smell. She smells roses. Yoshino. Do you smell that? Yoshino. Huh. She looks at her hands and they are covered in crystal vines. Oh no, not again. Riza. It's your quirk. Yoshino nods. Can't you control it? She nods again. You won't like it, but you'll be able to capture. Yoshino. Quick. What thing? Riza. Izuku will die because of you. He'll risk everything, and he'll surely die. Yoshino. No, pale and scared. Riza. Accept reality. Yoshino. No. Then the atmosphere cooled to extreme temperatures, causing Riza to hug Yoshino tightly. A sea of rose vines made of pure ice appeared, and the place was covered in these vines and ice roses that even pierced, froze, and immobilized Gyula. Yoshino, who was about to cry, was hugged tightly by Riza, who was also crying. Riza. Trembling. I'm sorry, that was the only way. I would never lose faith in my only son. He will live and we will be a family. Yoshino. Really? Riza. Yes, please forgive me. She would have cried if it had been because of an explosion that alerted them. Riza. Takes her hand. Let's go. Then, Izuku used alchemy to create a mini explosion to hold back those needles that Ivan was after. Mine and that. Lust. Wow, you're fast. That's probably why you don't have a girlfriend. Izuku. Shut up. Snaps his fingers again. Lust. Cannot dodge and destroys an arm. Well, but it begins to regenerate. You know about the Philosopher's Stone but you don't know. Izuku. Besides being able to create gold from lead, I know all about that. Lust. But did you know that the stone gives you regeneration and is the core of the homunculi? Izuku. Like this, he becomes even more serious. Lust. Yes, at that point she opens her chest and literally reveals her Philosopher's Stone. But then Riza and her granddaughter were running blindly all over the place until they came across a boy with black hair and black eyes. Child. Are they lost? Yoshino. Yes, she needs, interrupted by her curls. Riza. Like a child, he is here, knowing that here not even life is possible. Then the child's shadow expands, creating idiotic eyes. Boy. How did you figure it out? I'm so proud. Like, it all ended. Now I will be eternal. Let's go quickly. What is this? Mine. What do you mean? It's you. Bored. It's good to see you again, Izuku Mustang. What will you sacrifice this time? Smiling. Riza. How? Pride. Since they won't survive, I'll tell you soon. We are semi-perfect homunculi, but we seek perfection. Riza. Feels something like that because, as far as I know, the term homunculus is for artificial beings. Pride. Yes, but. Then the wall collapses, revealing a blood-soaked Roy, a mind more disturbed than the girl who saw the Teletubbies eating cereal with a spoon from their TV bellies in the very depths of hell. Next to, as Buko no **** would say, lust regenerating, apparently for the 10th time in a row. A few minutes earlier, right after the explosion, Izuku is seen creating a wall with alchemy. Lust. Era, I see you maintain that skill, but you protect those around you at the cost of your own. How will your daughter feel after her beloved father is dead? Izuku. Shut up. Izuku snapped his fingers to make it explode, but seeing that it regenerated, he brought his palms together and approached. Seeing that a few drops fell on it while it regenerated, he made his body absorb it and then evaporate the water as if he were going to cook a potato, but seeing that it regenerated, he took a step back. Lust. Damned prepares to attack. Izuku. You'd better leave. Snaps about 5 more times, causing the wall to collapse and reaching the point where we left off. Riza and Yoshino were surprised by the brutality of the scene and Izuku was also surprised to realize that something was wrong. Pride. Wretched. Izuku. I'd better kill you now. Pride. Ha, yeah, since I'm the strongest, not even God can stop me. Izuku simply pierced Pride, who was surprised, and saw lust disintegrating. Then Pride felt him find the stone and tear it away and destroy it. Pride, who began to disappear, laughed a little and, Pride. It doesn't matter, it will all end. Mine. Like, is it over? Pride. The promised day arrives in all its splendor. In the end, she disappears, and then there's a bit of silence, but Yoshino starts running towards an exhausted Izuku and has tears in her eyes. Yoshino. Dad, I thought you were going to die, ah. Izuku. She's in a hurry, how could I look at something like this? I've been through worse. Yoshino. Feels a lump, what is that? Izuku. So, pulls out a rabbit puppet, it's for you, I thought you'd like it. Izuku. Looks and sees that it's his mom. Tears start to fall, is that you? Mine. Sorry for omitting this scene. Izuku. Comes to his senses, mine, what is it you want to say? Mine. What is this? It looks like a place that gives off a bad feeling. Izuku. Yes, in a hollow or cave that seems to be in the center of the immense network of tubes. In the middle of that network you can see Father reading a book, and in front of him were Ira and Envy, but also Toga, Dobby and Mrs. Compres on the ground still terrified. Ira. Father, do you think it's time? We already have the last 3 sacrifices. Envy. Although Pride is taking a long time to arrive. Father. It doesn't matter, the only thing that matters is that you come to me. He stands up and then looks at the ceiling, very soon I will be eternal. Then points to his sons, and you will have this island for yourselves and travel wherever you want from Japan. Toga. Still terrified, what do they want? Envy. Shut up, kicks him in the face. Father. Walks towards her and then bows eternity. After that, they return to their seats, and while Izuku was still engaged in certain matters, out of nowhere, he reappeared in his original place and dragged the 3 of them away. Prov normal. Back with the gang with Shaggy, Wilma, Fred and, sorry for the misunderstanding, with the Mustang family and the extra mine and extra because she doesn't have the Mustang surname yet. Izuku. It looks like a duct leading to something, looks at Riza, what did that homunculus do to them? Riza. She stopped us while we were going that way, points behind Izuku. Izuku. He doesn't want us to leave. In those moments, they hear quick footsteps and become worried. Mine gets scared because she feels a bloodlust that reminds her of someone, and she positions herself behind Izuku. Izuku. Looks at them, we better go. After traveling a long distance, their pursuer didn't stop until they reached a fork in the road. In their desperation, Mine went with Riza to the right and Yoshino with her father to the other. Mine kept looking back to see if they were still being followed. Riza. Uncomfortably, I see you're close to Izuku, how's your relationship going? Mine. Huh, white face, what do you mean, relationship? Starts to blush. Riza. Well, they're very close at first glance. Mine. There comes a point where red is an understatement, no, we're not close, just friends. Friends yes, but they are very close to the other side. They turn around, displaying anger with their 2 swords, and when Mine remembers their first encounter, she doesn't like it at all. Ira. Ora, I thought that gluttony was watching you, serene. Riza. Do you think I'll just stand idly by while you use people as pawns? Anger. They're just pawns. Mine. That. With Izuku and Yoshino, the little girl had the small plushie hidden in her hands, but in one moment it all went dark and Yoshino disappeared for a few seconds. Izuku. Yoshino. Then Yoshino appeared. Izuku was about to rejoice, but then he realized something and became so angry that his eyes showed no mercy. Izuku. Prepares his gloves, tell me, Yoshino, do you know how we met? Yoshino. This was on a rainy day when I left a police station. Izuku. That's true, but that's not all. Envy looks at him in the most macabre way possible. After making a snap so powerful that it almost destroys their glove and creates a blue flame, in 1300 to 1500 GC incinerating 3/4 of Envid's body and illuminating the tuna, showing Yoshino asleep and Envid, seemingly conscious, gets angry, regenerates and begins to change into a deformed dog. Envid. You should be elongated, you're the uni. Before Izuku could continue, his tongue exploded. Izuku. I think your tongue has a lot of grease on it. You talk too much. Envid. Damn it, sees Yoshino and smiles. Die. Izuku Mustang goes to kill Yoshino. Izuku. Do you have bad eyesight? Snaps his fingers. By doing so, he burns Envid's eyes, preventing Yoshino's death, and Izuku goes there to finish off Envid, but he felt the urge to end him in the most painful and quickest way possible, with Anger and the girls. Riza, with a gun on the ground, was shooting at Anger, who was splitting the bullets in half with his swords, but when he was at a certain distance, an explosion was heard, followed by a beam of blue fire burning half of Anger. Ira looks at himself, what a regrettable end, serenely while aging rapidly. Riza approaches, what's wrong? Ira, nostalgic, I used to be human, but I was Jewish, used by the Nazis to create the perfect soldier. We practiced to death, but one day they did an experiment using a philosopher's stone that killed everyone. I was the only one accepted, and my father said, you will be my wrath, and that's how I got here. Mine. It's very sad. Anger. Child, cruelty and darkness create monsters and villains. You reap what you sow. Looks up, my time has come, dies. Riza looks where the new egg is incredibly hot, that was Izuku. Mine. Why? Stunned. Riza. Mine. When I saw Izuku defeating villains, I thought they were nothing, just. Riza approaches her and slaps her, calm down. Mine. Riza. Just by existing, people hurt each other without even noticing. As long as humans continue to exist, so will hatred. In an astronomical facility, two scientists were monitoring the sun until something strange happened. Izuku was looking at a half-burned Envid, but it vanishes, making it appear in a mutant form. Izuku. This is over. Envid. At least he didn't break me, hee. He takes what looked like a philosopher's stone out of his mouth. Only the weak cling to someone when they're in trouble. He breaks it. You're a good person, Izuku Mustang. He just took Yoshino and went through the cave he created where he met Riza and the philosopher mine. With father, he was about to do whatever it was he was going to do, but the sun had a mini solar eruption that father, upon seeing. Dad. No. The eruption was so fast that it collided with father and killed half of all life on Earth except for the Mustangs and mine. Izuku sees what happened, but what? The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and please hype this video. Now we will see you in the next video.